Welcome back to the Bunkhouse Podcast. Today is one of the biggest episodes of the year. We're breaking down Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey, looking at the film itself, and also taking a dive into one of the greatest filmmakers working today. If you love film and TV, just like the three of us, make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, get involved in the comments, and if you're listening on Spotify, give us that 5-star review. Also, make sure to check out the website or click the QR code on screen right now. Joining me today in the bunkhouse is Eccy Reviews, Dino Joe, and of course myself. So, quick briefly of what we have watched this week. Very quick. We can start with Eccy.
I've watched The Odyssey, obviously. Oh no, actually that was last week for me. It's because obviously YouTube watched it. I watched a bit of a random one. Pink Floyd, The Wall, which is like a movie made around the album. Watched it twice. Absolutely loved it. Been watching a few other stuff. Tried watching the new Will Ferrell TV show. Absolutely terrible. Watched the new series with Anya Taylor-Joy, Lucky. That is really good, the first 3 episodes. And that's about it.
Joe?
Well, watched The Odyssey in 70mm at the BFI IMAX, and that is pretty much it since we last recorded. And it is all I can think about and all I want to talk about. Lovely.
Yeah, I've done a little bit of a Nolan catch-up. I watched Tenet on the train to London. Then I watched The Odyssey in 70mm at the BFI, third largest screen in Europe, the way it's supposed to be seen. And last night I watched Insomnia.
You missed one. You watched Dunkirk finally again.
I watched Dunkirk as well. I watched Dunkirk. So I have 4 Nolan films back-to-back I've watched. And yes, if you did watch last week's episode, I was very wrong about Dunkirk. So now all 3 of us have seen The Odyssey. We're going to give our Bunkhouse critic rating out of 5. Very quick. I'll go myself 5 stars. Eccy?
Very easily 5 stars.
Andrew?
Only 5-star of the year so far, and by a landslide, the best film of the year so far.
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt. And I don't think it will be topped until December.
Doomsday.
Come on, Robert Downey Jr. getting his second Oscar. Right. So the moment is here. Let's talk about Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. We won't be going into too much spoilers now, but let's start it off. So going into The Odyssey, how excited was you, Tim?
I'll start first. So obviously I was really excited. Obviously, I think all of us massive Nolan fanboys, as everyone likes to call it, even though he's one of the best working directors, if not the best. And I think I was really excited, really overwhelmed experience. Obviously went to the world premiere, super excited, got to see the man himself, and it actually surprisingly beat every expectation I had. I was thinking that it was going to be this amazing film. Surprisingly, it beat it. It was absolutely unbelievable. But yeah, fantastic film.
Yeah. Joe?
Oh, mate, I don't even know where to start. I was buzzing for it. I've been excited for it for probably 2 years now when it was first announced. And then last year again, when tickets went on sale a year ago tomorrow, couldn't wait. Even like the hype of seeing tickets sell so fast. And then the longer and longer it's gone on and the closer we've got to release, I've just been praying to be able to see it in the format that it should be seen in, ideally. And then last week when we got the invite to see it at the BFI early, oh, mate, I genuinely the best cinematic experience I've ever had in my life. And I'm struggling to like find words to describe the experience. It's the weirdest train journey I've ever had in my life. On the way home, literally just sat there, just smiling. I must have looked like a fucking nutter on the way back.
Yeah, I can imagine my missus must have been pretty. She must have. We all know what women are like. She must have been looking at me like I was pissed off with her or something, because I didn't speak to her for like maybe an hour and a half. The only time we talked is when I got back to the hotel and somehow our water wasn't working, which was fantastic. Yeah, unreal experience. 70mm, first film I've ever seen in 70mm. The BFI is one of the biggest screens in the world.
Yeah.
The sound literally shaked my whole body. You know, it was insane. Now, I'm not a Greek mythology guy. I know the basics of what this film was about. So was Nolan adapting Greek mythology something you would have always wanted to see?
Well, obviously, I don't know if any of you really know about it, that Nolan originally was supposed to direct Troy, and I can't think of his name, but the guy who directed Troy was supposed to do Batman. And then right before it, the studio didn't want, I can't think of his name, didn't want him to direct Troy. And so, as like a consolation prize, they give the Batman to Christopher Nolan, which he went on to create one of the greatest actions.
That is mental.
So I think it's one of them where it's been long in the waiting. So I think Nolan was probably prepared for this film, thinking that he was going to do it 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And obviously, now he's had the chance of doing it, and he's absolutely smashed it.
It's one of those things that you don't really think about, especially like the way he's so diverse as an actor, as a director. See, honestly, I'm thinking about the film and it is throwing me all over the gaff just thinking about how good it is. Where he's so diverse as a director, you just don't know what he's going to cook up next. Like when you go from, I've not seen Tenet, it's the only film of his I've not seen, but when you go from Interstellar, Inception, Prestige, Batman as an IP, to then Oppenheimer, like at the time the biggest biopic performing wise ever, and like one of the most impressive films ever seen, and then for 3 years to release date to go from Oppenheimer to this, an epic like this, it is crazy. It's one of those that like you'd never think of him to make it, really. And then the scale it's been done, the whole film shot in IMAX for the first time ever, new cameras, created just for this experience and just for this film. It's mental. It's actually mental. I don't know if I'd ever have thought of him to make one, but as soon as it was announced, like, I think I can speak for behalf of like the entire film community. Everyone was buzzing. I think you're a liar if you love film, heard Nolan was doing this straight after Oppenheimer and didn't think, oh my Christ.
So obviously, with Christopher Nolan, with his films, his themes around the films normally fit in with time, memory, humanity, and sacrifice. Do you think this film naturally fits those themes, or do you think he wanted to more challenge himself to create something slightly different?
I feel for me like it's very like Dunkirk-esque with it being non-linear, jumping back and forth through time, obviously leading up to the climax, and I think he's done it very well. I think it's the perfect way to tell that Odyssey story. I don't feel like there's any other way. And I think Nolan works with time very, very well.
He does.
Yeah, the way that they did Troy in this, and like it's scattered throughout the entire film. I think if it was linear, I don't know. I know there's been a few complaints from people about the pace, which I don't agree with whatsoever. But I think if it had been done pacing wise linear, I think it would have just been a bit like, all right, we're waiting for this to happen. And then the 3-hour film might have felt like a 3-hour film, but because it's non-linear and you don't know what part of the Odyssey's coming up next, what part you're going to see next, what part of Troy you're going to see next, I think it makes the pacing so much better, and the 3-hour runtime flew by.
I think as well on the with it being non-linear, especially with the opening sequence of the film with Elliot Page's character, and then obviously finding out the origin of that character. Yeah. And then the same with obviously finding out details with Odysseus on his journey leading up towards the ending as well. I feel like non-linear really strengthens the story as well as like the emotion side of the film.
So I seen it as a bit of both. I think he's really challenged himself with this film because many people say that the Odyssey is something that people don't really want to try and tackle. But I feel like Christopher Nolan has took a bit of a swing by taking it and doing it. But he's also managed to fit his themes of time and memory in it with the way the story is told through Odysseus with Calypso.
Yeah.
I still think that works really well. And obviously with the time, with the non-linear storytelling, I really liked how it's kind of broken up in ways. Do you know, it really makes every step of Odysseus's journey that more important for me than what it would be if it was a linear story. I think if we just went from Troy through the journey and then we got to the end, I still think that would be a fantastic film, by the way. And I'd love it if in some world they kind of released it, because you could edit it around, couldn't you? to make it fit. But I really do like the non-linear storytelling that Nolan manages to do. I only think, off top of my head, the only other director that I think does great non-linear is Tarantino.
Yeah.
Non-linear. I can't really think of anyone else off the top of my head that does it the way Nolan does.
It's got sprinkles of his previous. So like, it reminded me of Memento when like Odysseus is retracing his steps with Calypso. I've again not seen Tenet, but from what you boys have said about Tenet and the way that's the the theme of time and stuff is in that as well. Dunkirk, obviously, even like stuff with the beach and like the way that's shot. Batman, just like there was several instances when they're in Troy and there's shots in Troy when they're looking at the statue that's shown in like trailer footage and stuff. That reminded me of like parts of Gotham. It is obviously an extremely well-known story, but it's sprinkled with Nolan's previous work throughout. It's like his Once Upon a Time in Hollywood for me. It's just like him fully showing off 30 odd years of filmmaking experience all in one go. It was like Oppenheimer was like, yeah, look at me, I am the bollocks, and then it's like, look what I'll do next and see how I can improve on like the filmmaking aspect. It is so impressive.
Yeah, I think like when we talk about non-linear as well, just like talking about the Troy, I think the whole situation with Troy, where it's one of them where when we learn about Troy at first, it's kind of obviously Travis Scott telling like the hero side of Odysseus, like he's this hero, blah blah blah. Then when Odysseus recalls what happened in Troy, seeing the lot darker side of like 10 years of anger, like ravaging on all these people. I think that's a lot more hard hitting and emotional in this non-linear storytelling.
Yeah, it almost felt like anti-war.
Yeah.
In them moments, which I really liked. So we're going to move on. I want to talk about the cast because it is one of the best casts I've seen in a film. Do you think this is Nolan's strongest cast on paper?
Yeah.
On paper, probably. I think even though it's like that strong on paper, it's still like, I think you'd look at it and you'd still wouldn't think of the cast just from a casting sheet as like elite. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't think any of us would have thought like Anne Hathaway is not like the top of her class. Matt Damon's not like the top of his class. Tom Holland, like, I know we like see Tom Holland like in a really high bracket, but a lot of people don't. Yeah, it's one of them on paper beforehand, maybe not. Afterwards, landslide, I think.
Yeah, I think like looking at the state of the cast, like I think it's very hard to compare another cast like it. Even when you think of like you think of films with high cast, you think of like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and obviously you think of like Brad Pitt, Leonardo DiCaprio, Al Pacino, Margot Robbie, and then even the smaller cast who've gone bigger now, like Austin Butler, Mikey Madison, etc., Sydney Sweeney, etc. I think I remember like being obviously at the premiere and they brought the whole cast out. It's like when they're naming the names, you think, fucking hell, like, how's he got this many people in it? Even just like Travis Scott, I know obviously people go, oh, Travis Scott's in this film. But he is like one of the biggest artists, obviously, ever, like, especially now.
Yeah.
And then you raffling off names like Matt Damon, Charlize Theron, obviously just like everyone, Tom Holland, etc., Robert Pattinson, Zendaya. It's absolutely insane.
Yeah, I think Oppenheimer is close to having the best cast, I think.
Yeah.
It's a stacked cast is Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
But Nolan just attracts stars. A lot of people are saying, why aren't they going down the accurate route of getting Greek actors, which in a way I could see. Let's get some Greek. But unfortunately, they want to make money. And A-listers' names put bums in seats.
It's an adaptation, mate. It's an adaptation. This is what people don't understand. It's an adaptation. It's made for a worldwide audience with recognizable faces. And by the way, it's not like they're just recognizable faces and they're just putting in a stint. There is like career-defining performances scattered throughout this. It's not even like one actor has given like an Oscar-worthy performance. I think the supporting actor category could literally have like 3 names from the Odyssey in it, and that's literally just to keep it at like 3. Genuinely, it's unreal. Like every time you go through like part of the journey on the Odyssey. Every stop, you're like, fucking hell, that was good. Oh my God, that was good. And then when you talk about it, you sometimes like, you'd miss out a name. Like then I didn't even think about Pattinson when I was talking at the start. And then you're like, oh yeah, he was also fucking brilliant. Can't think of her name off the top of my head, but Alpha from The Walking Dead during that. Unbelievable. Zendaya. Oh, it's just, ridiculous.
So I think I'm probably going to butcher his name. I think John Leguizamo, is that how you say his name?
Yeah, I think he's one of the most underrated performances in the whole entire film, and it's easily his best.
Yeah.
I also really liked Himish Patel.
Oh, yeah. Brilliant.
On the boat, the guy who's like Odysseus' like right-hand man.
Yeah,
He's in Tenet, yeah. Fantastic. So out of all the names we've just mentioned, very, very big names there. Very big, probably past in movies and whatever other projects they've got going. Who do you think had the biggest pressure on them to deliver in this film?
Holland.
Tom Holland, yeah.
I agree. I absolutely agree. It's got.
I think with everyone else, they've all had fantastic performances in other films, and I think it's one of them where when they was in this film, everyone's like, "Yeah, they should be in it." Where I feel like with Tom Holland, everyone's like, "Why has Christopher Nolan cast him?" And I think he's done a really good job in seeing something in Tom Holland and really brought that out of him.
I agree. I'm a fan of Tom Holland. I don't particularly love his Spider-Man movies, but I actually get excited to see him in projects. Like a lot of people complain about Uncharted. I liked him in Uncharted. I really don't know. I don't know why. I just really have this strong feeling for him, wanting him to be great.
Yeah.
And I called it from the moment he got announced in this film. If you remember in the chat, that he was going to shock the world, and I think he will. When the general public get to see it, he was arguably my favorite performance in the film. And the more I think about it, the more I just he had such an amount of screen time, but he used it so well.
Yeah,
it was fantastic, and that leads me on to the next section of going through specific cast members. And the first one on the list is Tom Holland working with Christopher Nolan. How excited was you for that pairing?
Like I said, I think it brought out like the best in Holland. I feel like I think he's had decent performances in other stuff, what people don't really talk about. Like there's a film, The Devil All the Time, where he works alongside Pattinson. And I think that film's like, I've not got it rated super highly, but I think it's a really good film, really solid performances. And then obviously, I think like because he's done stuff like Chaos Walking, it's like that's a bad film, but he's not a bad actor. And then obviously Spider-Man, he's really solid. There's a lot of issues with what?
He's a good Spider-Man, I think.
Yeah, I think he's perfect at being Peter Parker and Spider-Man. I think he's like where people see like Tobey Maguire as a perfect Peter Parker, and then see Andrew Garfield as a perfect Spider-Man. I think he's a perfect
That's
mix.
the way I see it.
But I feel like it's just the films haven't like done well for him because it's in the MCU. It really limits him, like because obviously they all try and bring in Iron Man. Then obviously like the multiverse and stuff, they bring in Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. With the new one, obviously we've seen that they're bringing Hulk and stuff into it. But I'm really excited for the new Spider-Man. But I feel like Tom Holland really has, like, he can do it. I feel like he can really do it. I feel like this film especially will make him want to do it. And it's like, I think I've seen an interview where he said, Zendaya said to him, because I think he was supposed to start shooting Odyssey at the same time as Spider-Man. She literally said, I'll leave you if you don't join this film. Yeah, she said, if you don't take that film, I'll leave you. Like, Tom Holland came out and said that. Obviously, she's probably joking, but you can talk to him.
You wouldn't take the risk, though, would you?
Nah.
But it's Christopher Nolan. It's like you can't, like, no one in the right mind would ever say no to being in one of his films.
I think he's been waiting, and he's deserved that chance to work with, like, a really great director, because he's young. He is young. Like he's young. He's about what, 30, similar age to us, and he's done a lot of projects in the last 10 years since Spider-Man, really. But he's just seems like he's been a bit of a not a yes man, but like got onto a lot of stuff. Like I'm not a fan of the Uncharted film. I like him in it. I don't like him as Nathan Drake because I'm a big fan of the games, and I think he's been really badly miscast. But I think his performance in it, exactly, and I think he's all right.
All right too.
But I think ever since first seeing him, he's always had a lot of potential. And when this was announced 2 years ago, because originally people thought he was being cast as Odysseus, didn't they?
Yeah.
But ever since it was announced he was cast, it was like, here we go, he's going to cook now. And I think the reason, really, you can tell he really loves the craft. He reminds me of Tom Cruise a little bit like that. Like, you can tell he really loves it. And hearing reports of when he spoke in press the last few weeks about Spider-Man, and that they pushed Spider-Man back specifically so he could be in this, and that he specifically made so many changes to Spider-Man, how it was shot. So all the stuff like how it was shot on location with swinging scenes. I saw some of those swinging scenes in Glasgow last year. That set was ridiculous. And to think that his involvement in this film has contributed to the way that he's shooting future projects and how he's getting hands-on involved with it, I think just shows like the potential he has. Is like, I think I wouldn't surprise if he directed a film in the next 10 years. I think this is a game changer for him, like massively. And I'm so glad it's happened to him whilst he's like 30, basically.
Yeah. I think he shows a look like I don't know like if anyone's seen where he said, like Matt Damon said, that Tom Holland actually rang Sony up and set it up so we could all watch Lawrence of Arabia in 70mm IMAX. And I think that really shows like love for the craft. I feel like actors sometimes, like I think some actors don't watch films and don't really have a love for film. Yeah, like, I didn't really want to mention a name, but
she
literally said she doesn't watch movies, and you can kind of see it in the choices she picks when she makes movies. Where like you look at people like Tom Cruise, who says he watches a film every day, and he's the face of cinema at the minute. And then like Nolan's got a love for film. Obviously, he said he was inspired a lot by I can't think of the movie in particular. He said he was inspired by. Can't think what he said he was inspired by for the Odyssey, but he was saying he was watching a film. It's got to do made in there. But yeah, like, I feel like
Happy Gilmore too.
I feel like you have to watch films and love films to create a film like this or to give a performance like this.
It was Star Wars that got Nolan into filmmaking, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He said that he was watching Star Wars and then we really wanted to go down that avenue. And I think we could. That's one thing out of Star Wars we should all be happy with.
Yeah.
So I think we can all agree that this is one of the biggest opportunities for Tom Holland's career. And I think this has now learning about the phone calls he's made with Sony about changing things from what he's done with Nolan has made me way more excited for the new Spider-Man film. And I'm not a big lover of the MCU Spider-Man films myself.
Yeah, same.
So do you think we're going to be seeing more collaborations with Tom Holland and big directors, or maybe go on a bit of a streak with Nolan?
I could see him probably doing a bit I think I mentioned this in my review, like my long form review on our website. But I said I'd love for him to do kind of like a Pattinson, like take some bold, independent film roles. Like I feel like that really set because Pattinson obviously did Twilight, and like people really didn't see him doing anything. And then he came out and did like Good Time, The Lighthouse, stuff like that. And then people was like, oh my God, this guy can actually act. Then he goes and gets the Batman, gives us the best Batman performance ever. And then obviously like he's really set himself now where like this year he's doing Odyssey, Doom Part 3. He's done the drama, and then he's doing what's it called? The one where he's Chris Hansen, Prime Time. So he's doing like 4 films in 1 year, and
he's just a beast. He's Pattinson.
And I feel like Tom Holland can be Pattinson. Like he could do that.
Yeah, I agree. Speaking of Pattinson, we've seen Christopher Nolan like help elevate actors' careers like Cillian Murphy, Bale, and Robert Pattinson, like you've just mentioned there. I think the next one to get elevated is Tom Holland, and I really, really want to see him be the lead in one of Christopher Nolan's next movies. I don't know how you feel about that. I really want to see him be the main guy.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind him showing up again more, maybe. It's a similar type of role or a leading role. There's a few other actors I'd like Nolan to work with. Instead, I'd just like to see Holland do well in general, but I feel like for me, Nolan, like with a lead or something, I'd really like for him to take Timothée Chalamet on. Like after, obviously, he was in Interstellar. I'd really like to see him role in a Nolan film, see what he can do there. But I'd love just to see Holland more in not independent cinema and just more like serious leading roles.
Just working.
Yeah,
there's a good list that I could put together for actors that are like there that I'd love to see work with Nolan, just to see how high that bar can be pushed.
I do have that as a question. Which is an actor or an actress you would love to see work with Christopher Nolan?
I feel like either like obviously Timothée Chalamet or like I know Emma Stone's kind of got a role with what's in the Yorgos Lanthimos. I really like maybe in a Nolan film maybe if she'd
That's
be
a
up
great
for it.
partnership, is Yorgos and Emma Stone.
Yeah,
I'd personally really like to see Jennifer Lawrence work with Nolan.
She wants to badly as well, doesn't she?
I'd really, yeah.
Her
she
working
does.
with
I would
Scorsese
love it.
and DiCaprio could really set her up for a Nolan film.
That's what I'm thinking. I really like Jennifer Lawrence. I don't know about you, but
There's two older actors that I think would flourish like with Christopher Nolan, and I would love to see Adam Sandler and George Clooney work with Nolan. I just think that yeah, but I, not together, but like both of them. Like Adam Sandler is unbelievable. Uncut Gems is ridiculous, and obviously like
Hustle's really good.
Yeah, well, yeah. I would love to see him in a Nolan project, and the same with Clooney. Like I think Clooney's always like delivered solid performances. Like really enjoy him in the Ocean's films. I think he's like a good leading man, but I could see him doing a bit of a Matt Damon in like this in the Odyssey and just like really shocking everyone, a bit like a Downey in Oppenheimer, even as a supporting role.
Yeah.
I just think that would like be the tip of his career, especially like at his age now. So they're like some older actors that I'd like to see work with him. But yeah, Timmy again, and even Austin Butler.
Yeah.
So we've mentioned Pattinson quite a few times now. Now,
wait, who would you? You didn't really say who you'd want.
I just said Jennifer Lawrence.
Oh, is there any like male actors who you'd like maybe see her?
I'd like to see Leo again.
Yeah. Oh man, like a Tom Hardy as well. Like Tom Hardy's obviously.
Tom Hardy would be good.
Yeah, he took more of a prominent role in Dunkirk, but as a leading man would be great.
I'm trying to think of male actors that I like really.
He kind of goes for British a lot, doesn't he?
It's Timothy that I like. Yeah, Timmy's a shout. I kind of just have my like little actors that I like. I'm not really too big with like other names that I could think of off the top of my head that I think could work with Nolan, because I wouldn't. Obviously, I'd have never thought of Tom Holland.
Yeah.
Before until it got announced, I'm like, yeah, of course. So until I see it, like I'm a bit weird. But Jennifer Lawrence is one. Emma Stone is one.
Will Poulter.
David Johnson.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind a Daniel Kaluuya as well.
Maybe like a supporting role for David Johnson, though. Maybe not a lead right now, but I really like David Johnson. So
Tom Blythe.
Tom Blythe, yeah.
Tom Blythe. Daniel Kaluuya, I think, could really do it. Like we get, obviously he's a bit like a.
We've not seen Daniel Kaluuya for quite some years now, have we?
I've not seen since Nope, which was like what 2022.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of big male actors that pull me into the cinema these days that I'd like to see Nolan. I don't know if a name that's not quite up there would be able to pull me as much in. Do you know what I mean? So it's all pretty similar now. Like Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Do you like to see Tom Cruise with Nolan?
Yeah, I don't know how they'd work together. That's the only thing.
I think they'd butt heads, yeah.
Yeah.
It'd have to be an action film, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I know Tom Cruise is trying to get away from action a little bit, so it'd be interesting.
Is it?
Yeah, I think he's like, obviously he's trying to take a little few more like serious roles. Obviously, that's why he's doing that. Then you're to his new film, Digger, and there's a few other films he's like been talking about it as well.
So now we have mentioned Pattinson quite a few times now. He is one of my favourite working actors right now. I'm guessing I can talk for you both and saying the same with obviously Batman Good Time, Lighthouse, if you've seen it. We've seen him in Tenet now. He's doing Dune as well. He's done Odyssey. Why do you think Nolan sees Pattinson as an actor to work with so much? Like, do you think it's because he's that dynamic? Because every time you see Pattinson, it's always something new. It's always something different, whether it's a different voice or different mannerisms. Pattinson is so dynamic. Why do you think Nolan likes to work with him?
I think just because he is so like, he's obviously so diverse between every single role he does that you can't really pinpoint him anywhere. That's why I feel like he really sets himself like out from everyone else. Like he sets himself apart. Sorry, like from everybody else, because he is like, he'll go and do Boy and the Heron and do a voice, and you think, what? That's Robert Pattinson. and then he goes and does like Batman, and he's like completely different to who he is. And like obviously he's gone and done like Die My Love, and even though it wasn't well received, he gives a
Mickey
fantastic
17.
performance. Yeah, and like Mickey 17, I'm not a massive fan of that film. I love Bong Joon-ho, love Pattinson. I don't think that film's a really good story. But again, he's fantastic. He plays multiple personalities in that film. And I think he just really stands out upon every other actor who's kind of working.
Yeah, I agree. I think Pattinson has become one of the most interesting actors of our generation. There is still people that won't watch, not even know what he's done since Twilight. I have a friend that hasn't watched The Batman because of Twilight. Do you still think that them kind of films impact Pattinson now? Or do you think he's sort of grown out of it?
Much, but I still think they do. I feel like a little few. I know people at work who've gone, I'm not watched the new Batman because it's got Edward in it. And I'm just like, if you watched anything he's done since Twilight, you'd think of him completely different. He's a totally different actor.
Yeah, I think
Twilight
what we were saying before
as well.
No, they're not. What we were saying before about Tom Holland about taking risks and stuff. That's what he's been doing for years. Like even with the drama is like a relatively small film, really, in comparison. I know it's A24, but I think that's the first time I've heard his voice as his voice for a long time. He's such a chameleon. Like if you think of like his last like five films, Mickey 17, Die My Love, the drama, even like putting Batman into the mix and stuff, is so different in every single one. But you could easily say he's the best thing about all of them. He's so good. And I think like for a director being a comedian like that, he must be a dream to work with.
Yeah. Must be. Now, who was your favourite performance in the Odyssey?
I think for me it'd have to be, I think there's some great performances, but I feel like Anne Hathaway, as someone who, as I see, is a great actress anyway, I think her as Penelope is absolutely unbelievable. Like, I don't know if I just love that character, but the way she embodies that role is absolutely fantastic. And like constantly, every time she was on screen, I was just like mesmerized by how good she was. And even though you had people like Pattinson as a villain who was absolutely brilliant, and I loved him, and I can understand all the praise he's getting. And Holland, obviously, coming out of like Spider-Man and stuff, and no one really thinking he was going to be any good, and he's fantastic. Anne Hathaway, I think, I'd be certain right now that she'll get an Oscar win for that performance. I think she's the only definite for me of the year for getting an Oscar win.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same. Like every time you think of somebody else's performance during this film, it's incredible, and you're like, oh, and them, but it always circles back to Anne Hathaway for me. At the start, scenes between her and Odysseus when he says that he's going and kind of lets her know how treacherous and probably ultimate his journey is going to be, and that he probably isn't coming back. That scene is so good, and her emotion is so impactful. And then when you think of like the filmmaking aspect of it on top of it, which obviously like we think about, the fact that those cameras only record 3 minutes of footage at a time, and that scene is probably 5 minutes or so. So they would have had to have done that, start it, finish film, do it again, or carry on, and that she can like continue the height of that performance continuously. And then every time she's on screen with a different character, like you said, when she's with Pattinson, she owns it. When she's with Tom Holland and she's like refusing to remarry, owns it. And then at the end, oh my God, like when we get into spoilers properly a little bit further along, there's a scene specifically with her at the end that is like genuinely the sound design and everything. And then where it cuts to her and her expressions genuinely like proper took my breath away.
Yeah, she was unreal. She's my favourite performance. It's between her and Tom Holland, but I think Anne Hathaway just tips it. And like you said, I hope she gets the Oscar for it, to be honest. I'm not one for going down that Oscar route after performances, but she is unreal. And all I can think of is going back. I mentioned it in the Bunkhouse bonus clip, which is in the playlist on the page. You can go check that out.
Well, hey.
Is when Kevin McCarthy interviews her, and he talks about the emotion between the door and when she's not with, through the door. and then getting to see it after watching that clip.
I told you, I said that in the episode. I said when you watch that clip back, it makes you completely different. And you can understand, obviously, like I know she's pregnant or whatever, and people say hide emotions, but you would feel emotional. Someone like Kevin McCarthy, he's very strict with films and stuff, and really sees the film techniques behind everything. For him to give you that praise, talk about that scene through the screen, her and Finger, it's so unbelievable.
She's now worked with Nolan 3 times over 14 years.
Yeah.
With The Dark Knight Rises, Interstellar, now The Odyssey. People are praising Penelope as the best in the movie, just like we have. Do you think she is one of the most underrated collaborators that Nolan's ever worked with? Because I think she's fantastic in Interstellar. She's also really good as Selena Kyle in The Dark Knight Rises.
I think it's one of them where, for her, I think it's a lot with of all the film with these collaborations. Like when you think of Cillian Murphy, obviously he's great in Batman Begins and he's great in Dunkirk. Then he's like, right, come on, Cillian, now it's your time for Oppenheimer. Gives an Oscar-winning performance. Then it's like Anne Hathaway. It's like, yeah, you're good in Dark Knight Rises, but Tom Hardy kind of steals it. Then you've got Interstellar, Matthew McConaughey steals it. Then it's like, right, come on to Odyssey. Now it's your time, and she just absolutely smashes it.
Yeah, this is it. She also, obviously, she works on other films. Like this year, she's done Devil Wears Prada. I think she's got that other film coming out. Is it End of Oak Street?
Mother Mary, she's on.
Yeah, she's got a pretty big year ahead of her.
And another film as well. She got 5 this year.
I would love to see. I know we're getting a behind the scenes. I don't know if you know about that. We're getting a behind the scenes in the making of the Odyssey.
Yeah, it's out.
I would just love to see the conversations that Nolan is having with actors like Anne Hathaway. That is a good actress. You might not think of her as the top, but I like her personally. I think she's good. How Nolan helps bring different sides of these actors out. I'd love to see how he does it, because obviously we've seen her, like you've just said, a good example, growing into them roles with previous films. It's almost like he gives them trial stages. You have this film, and then, do you know what, we'll bring you on for next step up on this one. And then, all right, here you go, take the reins.
Yeah.
How do you think he does it?
I don't know.
What does he do? Is it the actor themselves wanting to give more because of who they're working with?
Yeah,
I think it's a bit of both.
I think working with Nolan, I think it's one of them where he's held in such high regard. You can only give him your best, and I've seen it in a few interviews where they've seen about Zendaya got a perfect, which was basically she gave a performance and they recorded it, and at the end of it, Nolan's gone perfect. So obviously he's very critical of the performances they give. And I think he said Anne Hathaway gave one, and she wrote that down in a journal at the end of the day. She wrote it down that she got a perfect from Nolan. And I think it's one of them where he must expect the very, very best from every single actor. And if you don't, we're doing it again, no matter how long it takes.
How much would you pay to get an hour of watching a Christopher Nolan on set?
Oh, mate.
I don't even know.
I'd love to see it.
Yeah.
Have you seen? I can't remember his name, but there's a content creator. I cannot remember his name, but it was around the time of Oppenheimer. Christopher Nolan was showing him the backstages at the BFI, how all the film reel works. He got to go and watch the Odyssey get filmed.
Yeah, he did the interviews at the premiere where I went to. I can't think of his name myself, but he's done it a few things. He's been doing it with Spielberg as well.
He did.
Yeah,
he did.
Yeah.
You got to hold the original whip.
Yeah, and I think for me, seeing someone like him, I can't remember his name, but I know how much he loves films. I think seeing someone like him, you think that is well deserved for him to go on to set, and I think he'd really, really appreciate it. I think with some creators and stuff, you're not really sure how they'd appreciate it, but he's a true film lover, and I think
you can tell.
I couldn't honestly comprehend being on set and seeing the Odyssey getting filmed. I genuinely couldn't even comprehend it.
It's a different one as well, isn't it? Because the scale of those sets are just unlike any other. I think the only other set that would send me into space like that is seeing Lord of the Rings getting filmed. I had those same sort of goosebumps the other day when they released that first teaser of Hunt for Gollum, and then at the end of the teaser, it shows the on-set reveal of the mountains in New Zealand. I was like, oh my God, like, I'm not excited for this film, but just seeing that is like, I don't know. It's
so much more exciting seeing stuff on location than just seeing everything in like on a studio with like a big blue screen.
Yeah, because it could be anything
It's
or
so
anywhere.
much more real.
Yeah.
Lived him.
So we're talking about the cast, of course. We're going to go into the final segment of that. We can't talk about the cast without talking about Matt Damon as Odysseus. This is his also third time working with Nolan, Interstellar, and then back-to-back Oppenheimer, The Odyssey, as the leading role. Has Odysseus become one of Matt Damon's career-defining performances for you boys?
I think it's his best.
Yeah,
I think like it's comfortably his best. We were speaking about this the other day, like just almost trying to comprehend what comes close to it, because he's obviously, his filmography is crazy, Matt Damon, but you never think of him as like the best in what he's been in. Do you know what I mean? Like, Good Will Hunting, yeah.
I think it's more Robin Williams for that, though.
Yeah, that's what we said exactly the same the other day. Like, you're trying to like compare this performance, like, yeah, Good Will Hunting, yeah, but Robin Williams is a standout of that. The Martian, maybe, but basically because he's in it on his own. But it's not like it's not
memorable. You don't
crazy.
really talk about it. Like when you talk about like great performances, someone said Matt Damon, you'd be like, it'd be one of them where you'd think of you'd think of his performances and you think, oh well, he's good in Good Will Hunting, he's good in The Martian. I really like him as Jason Bourne, but there's nothing where that he has a career highlight, which you have with most actors. Where like I feel like with this now with The Odyssey, you go, oh, what do you think Matt Damon's best performance is? And you'd instantly go, The Odyssey.
Without a doubt. I've seen quite a few people saying that he didn't really give like a compelling performance, and I just can't see it, because every step of the journey, you could feel the emotion behind it, especially in that final 45 minutes, which we will be talking about.
The siren scene as well. You know, the siren scene where he gets strapped up and he's like screaming. I think like that is like, wow.
I think every stage of the journey, he starts off sort of like in the background a bit, and then by the end of that stage of the journey, he commands it. When they're with like the giants that's seen in the poster in the trailer, again, he commands that. When they go to I don't want to get into spoilers yet, but it's literally every little section of it. The Cyclops scene, obviously the Cyclops takes center stage, but then his leadership during that, before, and then at the back end when he gets angry and lashes out, again commands that. I think it's so impressive. I think it's just because the entire, as we were talking before, where the entire cast is so strong, I think his performance might get slept on a bit, but I think it's just important to highlight. He leads the entire film, and the reason that the pacing works is because of him.
Yeah. Well, Odysseus's main characteristics is intelligence and leadership, emotion and survival. I've not read the book personally, but I've seen a couple who have read the book and saying that some of those traits aren't there. But I think you've hit the nail on the head there. With the Cyclops scene, he leads that whole way out. And as the movie progresses, he starts to understand what's at stake here on the journey home. And I think he really does go into it. I loved the beach scenes with Calypso.
Yeah.
They were fantastic. Why do you think Nolan chose Matt Damon for the lead? What do you think it is about Matt Damon that fits Odysseus so well compared to maybe picking Cillian Murphy to come back?
I think it's one of them where obviously I think he wanted. Nolan's one of them where he doesn't keep the same lead in like kind of every single film, so I think it was time for him to give someone another chance. And I feel like Matt Damon, like with Interstellar, I think he plays this like calm but cowardly but powerful character, like where like he's too scared for die. Like he doesn't want. It's kind of very similar to like Odysseus, where he doesn't want to die and he wants to go home, exactly the same as he is in Interstellar. And then in like, obviously, again in Oppenheimer, he plays this like he's a leader, like he's like a colonel or whatever. He's in charge, and I feel like maybe he's gone, oh well, he's a leader in this. He wants to get home in this, and he's a very strong character in this. Maybe he would be a good Odysseus. And when I really think about it, I don't even know a single other actor who'd be good as Odysseus. Like, even when you think of DiCaprio, like, even though I think he'd be very good at it, I don't think he'd be as strong as Matt Damon. I think he has more of the Odysseus look. I know he grows the beard and stuff, but I think he has that more strong leadership look about him compared to other actors.
Yeah, I completely agree. Joe, you got anything to say on that?
Yeah, I'm again like struggling to think of like who else could do it. Yeah, I just think where he's been in a few projects before, he's always solid, and he's always that sort of like, you can see him fatherly, even though he's not really played many father figures.
Yeah.
He's has he been really commanding in other stuff he's been in? I don't know. I think he's just obviously seen stuff in him, and it ties back into what you said before, Luke, where you said about giving actors roles that lead up. Like Cillian Murphy's obviously been in loads of Nolan, where like he's a little role. He's a little role in Inception. He's Scarecrow in Begins, and then there you go. Now's your chance. Own it. Yeah.
Take it by the reins.
And it's just he's so good in it.
I really liked. We can't get into the spoilers now, so we will be talking spoilers very soon, guys. Okay. It's that final 45 minutes, mate, where he's really questioning things that I really liked, and how he gets himself to that moment is. We'll talk about it. So, The Odyssey is one of. I called it the biggest cinematic achievement that I've ever seen in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think I'd like to spend a little bit of time talking about the actual filmmaking aspects. Obviously, Eccy, you haven't seen it in 70mm, but you got to watch it in an IMAX screen. So that was my first 70mm. Joe, your first 70mm?
Yeah.
It's the first film shot entirely on IMAX. What do you think about that, using the IMAX cameras for it? Because there's a lot of backlash on Twitter.
It's backlash for using them.
Yeah, there's a lot of backlash about, because of the format of 70mm. If you go on my timeline's full of it, of the different aspect ratios of what you're able to really see. But there's only 40 locations, I think, in the entire world that you can see it in its true vision. People are complaining about why he's made it that way. But I think he's done it for himself. I don't know if you've seen the interview. He said it was a challenge for him to do it.
Yeah, it is for himself. It's because it's what he wants to do, and how he thinks that story deserves to be told on that scale, and a story of this scale deserves it. People complaining about it, saying, "Well, I can't see it in that format. It deserves to be seen in any format. There's just better ways of seeing it." I watch the Premier League every weekend on my TV. It would be way better if I saw it in person, but
this is it.
You can't go to the stadium. It is what it is. It's still great to watch. Lionel Messi is the best footballer I've ever seen. It's a joy to watch him on highlights on YouTube. Would I love to see him in person play against the best teams in the world? Yes, I would. But it is what it is. If you can see it, see it in the format that he wishes that people be able to see it in. But not everybody can. But it's still monumental. You can still see it in a normal IMAX screen, which are pretty much available everywhere or within traveling distance. It's not the end of the world. It is just a privilege and a pleasure to be able to see something in that format. Yeah. And the fact that it's been filmed in that format, again, is a privilege to be even able to see it like that. If every film could be filmed in 70mm, then brilliant. I watched Sinners on like a normal cinema screen. It's still incredible. If I watched it on IMAX and the ratio's bigger, it was even better. But it doesn't change how it... Yeah, it's a really shit argument, I think. People saying, well, it's shit if you can't see it in the way that it's supposed to be filmed. Shut up, mate.
As someone who's... I've seen... Obviously, I haven't seen the Odyssey in 70mm. I saw it in IMAX. But I've seen Oppenheimer in 70mm IMAX. And I think, for me, the difference between IMAX and 70mm IMAX, obviously, you're seeing a little bit more of the screen. But for me, I feel like 70mm IMAX is more of like an overwhelming experience. It's like hard to explain unless you've experienced it, which obviously all of us have, where... Watching it in IMAX is a surreal experience. The sound, obviously, it's Dolby Atmos. Like, you've got sound. The sound makes your seat vibrate. The IMAX, it's still a massive screen, and it's a fantastic way to watching it. And obviously, you're not missing out on massive like things. It's like little minute details, but obviously, it just enhances the experience on like every level. and you're not missing out massively. Obviously, there's a lot of films I watch in normal screens. Obviously, I've gone to like premieres and stuff and watched stuff in IMAX. We watched One Battle After Another in VistaVision, which is obviously the form it's meant to be seen in. I still went to the cinema. It looks near enough exactly the same. Obviously, it's a little bit of a better experience, but it's still just as good. The film's just as good. I've got One Battle After Another as a 5-star. It doesn't change the experience. It's just more of an enhanced experience. And like the way, like to film something in IMAX, especially the way Nolan's done it, I think it's more of a Nolan like challenge as well as like I know Hoyte van Hoytema. He loves working with IMAX as well. He's like a big person who wants to progress it. Obviously, he's the guy mostly behind the camera. He's like behind the camera the whole entire time. And I think it's just more the challenge. I feel like most people who love the job or enjoy working, everyone loves a challenge. I got to work, and if you do something a little bit different, it's exciting, especially when you look at something where you've completed a finished project and you go, fucking hell, I've done that. And he's like, he's the first person to do it. Like you look at like Stanley Kubrick making 2001 Space Odyssey, like that's not 70mm IMAX, but it's an achievement. And that's what I think, that's what the filmmaking's all about, is creating something what no one's ever done before.
It's taking pride in your work, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think what a lot of people forget is that these guys who create the films are also film lovers. Like, look at what Tom Cruise does for cinema, talks about cinema. Christopher Nolan embodies himself in making real cinema. You know, we're starting to see a bit of a switch back to the away from digital. You have PTA using VistaVision. You have Sinners using the 70mm with Ryan Coogler really talking about the aspect ratios and what it does for your preferable vision. And then you've got Nolan who explains why he wants to do it with the IMAX cameras, why it was an achievement, that he set this goal out. He promised someone that he was going to do it. Yeah. He was going to film it. And he's tried it before, but the IMAX cameras are so loud that you have to film the dialogue separate, don't you? And then it has to get edited together, whereas they've created a brand new it's like a boxing. Is it called the blimp?
It's called the yeah.
Okay.
Is it a blip? Is it called the blip or the blimp?
Yeah, that's what it's called.
They've managed to make it work now to film it. It's just a
Keeley camera, isn't it? Keeley camera. They've renamed it.
Yeah. Constantly challenging yourself to do better and take pride in your work and step the game up, and that's what he's done. He's raised the bar. You know, good example of Lionel Messi. He's 39 in the World Cup, raising the bar every single time he comes on. When he's past his prime, Nolan's in his prime, and he's wanting to raise that bar. I don't even know where Nolan can go from here, because he's like, I don't know what he can do next unless he just continues to film in full IMAX.
Yeah, but it's one of them where I think, if like for instance, he's challenged himself, he's made something in full IMAX, and the only way he can really change. I don't think he can change the film experience for himself now. I think this is the furthest he can really go with IMAX. The other way I think he can change is like integrating it with different genres, such as like I know we talked about in the previous episode, talking about horror and etc. And like the way you talk about like filmmaking, like I feel like even though digital gets a little bit of stick compared to like real cameras and stuff, I feel like there's a way of making digital look good. Like you look at the Batman, obviously like that's filmed digitally. But they had this like dark and grittier look, and obviously you got Greg Fraser as the DP, and I think that's all what it depends on. I feel like you kind of look at like Netflix films now, and they all look very, very similar. They all have the same grade, like color grading, etc. And I feel like that's the issue. I don't think like the VistaVision and stuff. I think it's more of the challenge aspect. Obviously, like even Tom Cruise with Digger, they've done that in VistaVision. Obviously, they brought all the cameras back. And I think it's a great way of mixing everything. I think it's good. It's good for cinema. I
agree. It's good for cinema. We are film lovers, right? But not only that, it pushes people, the general public who like films, they might enjoy going to the cinema like maybe once a week or whatever. It pushes people to experience film in the best way possible. Mm-hmm. Like 70mm at Printworks in Manchester is sold out for how long? Eccy, you'll know.
They're both BFI IMAX and Printworks are both sold out for 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks straight. You can't even get a showing. That's pushing people to witness a project that they've made. I think people forget that. It's like if I wrote a book, I would want you to read the book in the way I'd want you to read it. All right. Do you know what I mean? If you've made I'm not going to write
picture book, is it?
I'm not going to write a book because that is dyslexic, isn't it? Right?
Yeah, I want you to read it how I've written it. All
yeah,
over.
You read it the way I wrote it, and you won't even be able to get past the first paragraph because it don't make sense. Right? But he's created this epic, this Greek mythological epic. What if you can only watch it in normal cinema? Fair enough. That is not your fault, right? You're still going to have a wicked experience. But if you've got like a fucking McDonald's burgeria, yeah, and then you have a nice expensive burgeria that you can possibly go for the expensive one. Spend that little bit extra and really embrace it. And like I said, I watched first film 70mm. It is a big difference. It is crazy. It's much taller. You get to see more. Your whole vision is covered. Everything's covered, and it mixes with the sound design much better as well. I think Nolan's one of the filmmaking pioneers, I think, that is responsible for keeping large format cinema actually alive. So it doesn't go full digital. We're seeing everything going full digital with PS5s and things like that. No discs anymore. Once you start allowing it, it goes away.
Mm-hmm.
Joe does mention as well, like with the issue with this, like I don't know if you've ever looked into it, but like when you like buy something on like digital on Apple TV, PlayStation, they don't own the rights to that. So if they
it's leasehold, isn't it?
If they ever lose the rights to it, you've paid money, but you can lose it. That's why you have to buy stuff like physical media and physical games, because if they lose the rights to it, even if you paid for it, you could buy Odyssey on Apple TV for 20 quid or whatever. But in 10 years' time, it might not be on there anymore. You don't even know. Exactly. Whereas if you've got it physically, you've got it there forever.
Yeah. Well, it's like that.
Yeah.
That's
mine.
Oh, mine's there. Beyond it.
Why do you think this is such a huge moment for cinema with the filming entirely on IMAX film? Why do you think it's so important?
It's boundaries being pushed that you didn't think, like for the reasons we've explained about previously with an IMAX camera, because it's so big and so loud, you couldn't even record audio and the film at the same time, where they have specifically made it so you can. And to be fair, if they'd have done that and he filmed like say even 100 minutes, or they'd used 100 minutes of footage with this new camera, that would still be monumental. But as we were saying with taking pride in your work, I think it's pushing yourself and also knowing, I reckon I could do that. I'm going to do that. And he just pushed it and pushed it and pushed it. And the fact the feat has been achieved in a way that is just, it's incomprehensible. I think all of us has described when we watched it as just trying to figure out and trying to comprehend what we're watching on screen and how that was done. And I don't think I've done that in a film before, except for maybe Oppenheimer during the atom bomb, of thinking, how on earth have they done that? Like, I'm actually I can't get my head around how this has been done. And I spent 3 hours doing it. And
I think he's
unlike anything else.
He's like a pioneer of the craft. I think I know we're talking about a lot about Christopher Nolan pushing boundaries with IMAX, but then you go and look at like James Cameron with Avatar. Like, even though them films, like obviously there's a lot of discussion about people, you can't really name any characters in the film, like, and the stories aren't like amazing or anything, but visually and the achievements like he has gone to and the lengths he's gone to and stuff like that, creating cameras, creating technology to create this film, it's amazing. Like, everyone goes and watches Avatar, even though they don't really care about the characters. People go and watch Avatar because it's the cinema experience. And I feel like that's what Nolan does. But obviously, you just got the filming aspect there, where like the story and stuffs are much better.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So with the sound design of a film, I think for me, Nolan's sound design is one of the biggest parts of his filmmaking. Now, I know me and you spoke about this previously, Eccy, and some people didn't like, was it the sound design in Tenet and Dunkirk?
Yeah, people a lot more about like the audio and stuff, like the dialogue, not being able to hear it in Tenet. And
I never had no problems.
Really noticed,
How important do you think the sound design is to a Nolan experience?
I think in this film it is so prominent, like with like stuff like the Cyclops and his cries and him talking and the way he enters. Then you've got all the stuff at the sea and stuff like that, and even just like in the silence in certain scenes, like Like for instance, before they see the sirens, and the way when they all put the wax in their ear, and it's like you've got wax in your ear, and it goes like a little bit more of a dull tone. I feel like that was spectacular. And then obviously I don't want to go too much.
Slightly echoey in it.
Yeah, and like I think one of my favorite scene just for the sound alone is at the end with the bow. Obviously, I'm not going to talk about the spoilers of it, but just when the strung, like when he strings the bow, and that sound, what it does is it just like it sent shivers down my spine. Totally made that scene, elevated it.
When that bow gets strung and gets plucked, it literally felt like that. Like pluck was literally my heart like palpitating. Like oh my god, there's so many points throughout this film, and you just mentioned it then about like the silence. I think that's prominent in a lot of Nolan films as well. That the score is always like elite. The sound mixing is always elite, but the silence as well is almost a character in itself. Oppenheimer was the same during the atom bomb. The silence speaks 1,000 words, and in this one, that bit with the sirens, I think me and you said to each other, we're like, because throughout literally the entire film, me and Luke were literally just like elbowing each other, like, oh my god, like some, I thought he was gonna kiss me at one point. I was getting excited, and yeah, like there's so many points throughout, like. But that silence and hearing it feels so real when they put the wax in their ear. It almost feels like when you go underwater. It was that sort of sound where like when you put your fingers in your ear or when you're on a flight and you're trying to pop your ears. It was the exact same sort of thing. And it literally felt like it was me. I wasn't watching or listening to something. It felt like it was me. The Cyclops is one of the most impressive piece of sound I've ever heard in my life.
I'm actually just thinking of the scene, like you talking about it. I'm getting goosebumps, and I was the same when I was watching like the film. It is such an unreal experience. That's why it's so annoying about like people getting annoyed about like casting choices and it not being Greek and stuff. You're literally depriving yourself from an experience. It is so aggravating, and especially if you love film, you're literally depriving yourself of like greatness because. Like the sound is like you just talking about it there. It's so good.
I think I personally love the silence in films.
Yeah,
like the Oppenheimer Trinity sequence. That silence, and then I remember it like it was yesterday. I was sat in the Cineworld IMAX, and you could hear people breathing because of the amount of intensity that was instant there with the drop of the silence. Do you think the sound design makes moments feel much bigger and much more intense and impactful in those little moments in the film, like 100%. With the bow pluck? Like if that sound design in bang on, if it nailed on to the best it can be, it doesn't have that impactful.
There's a few films that have been like that, like just in general, like even like Tuna. I think Tuna is quite a bang average film, but the sound mixing makes that entire film. And the same with this, it's got every element of like a Nolan thing. Like it's got the silence that is incredible. The Cyclops, like just like seeing the Cyclops and the scale of it is impressive in itself. But then when it changes and the sound kicks in, like. And the hum of him like crying and moving, like that is genuinely just this. If you close your eyes and just heard that sound, that is fucking terrifying. And you don't even have to look at the scale of the thing. If you just had your eyes closed and listen to that like crying and how it goes hype. Oh my Christ! Again, I'm getting goosebumps.
It's so good.
So, on to the final part about the sound design. Where do you think Where does the Odyssey rank among Nolan's best sound experiences?
I think because he keeps the same. I can't remember his name. I'll put it in my review, but he keeps the same.
Ludwig Göransson.
No, that's obviously he does the score. I'm on about the person who does the sound design. I can't.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It's in my review. I can't think, but he's worked on 9 of. He's worked with him like on 9 of his projects, and it's literally in all of some of his best. Like he's worked on him with Inception, Interstellar, Oppenheimer, and they have like some of the most iconic, like the docking sequence, like the sound in Interstellar is unbelievable, and I feel like sound elevates Nolan's film so much. It adds to the experience so much. I think it's just I think for me it is probably Christopher Nolan's best sounding film. I think the sound elevates every single scene.
Yeah,
Joe?
so do I. I think Oppenheimer was probably like on par with Interstellar sound wise, and then this is literally just like this film is a bit like look what I'm gonna do, or look what I can. Oh, you thought Oppenheimer
so
was good?
impressive.
It's just it's elevated on basically every level. I think the only thing in the Odyssey that isn't as good as Oppenheimer, which might like tip it for me maybe, is Cillian Murphy's and Robert Downey Jr.'s performances
Yeah.
together is probably the thing that separates the two potentially. But I think like from a filmmaking aspect and as a viewer's aspect, I think everything in the Odyssey is just above everything he's ever done.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like when we talk about sound, we're going to finish it off with talking about Ludwig Göransson.
Mm.
Obviously, he's done quite a few projects with Nolan now after being handed in the reins basically by Hans Zimmer. Hans Zimmer was the one that put forward Ludwig to Nolan.
But he regrets it now.
It's because he was working on Dune, isn't it? And you
Yeah.
can understand why.
Yeah.
It's like,
I'm gonna lose my job.
I think Dune's such a passion project for Hans Zimmer. I think
We
it's
have-
kind of good. Well, it's one of them where you don't want Nolan's films to all feel the same. So I feel like changing the composer can change the film so much.
Well, I think, Hans Zimmer for me is the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just think Ludwig now is walking in that footsteps of greatness to get there.
Yeah, I feel
Because
like
he is fantastic, mate. He is fantastic.
With John Williams, I think like he's so iconic. Obviously, it's one of them where every film that he touched was like obviously created block, but like it's like the defying of blockbusters like Star Wars and Jurassic Park and stuff. Where I feel like kind of with John Williams, especially working with Spielberg so much, I feel like we went to the pub quiz for Spielberg. Near enough 90% of the scores are also in the same in all of his films.
Mm-hmm.
Where like Hans Zimmer, I feel like even though some might be a little bit similar, I feel like everything is completely different. Then Ludwig, I think maybe in like 20, 30 years, Ludwig could be the best because in this film, obviously, he literally picked instruments from the time it was set.
Yeah,
and then obviously it goes and like there's so many films where I feel like with Ludwig, all these scores sound completely different, but they're all so iconic. Like the score, Can You Hear the Music in Oppenheimer is probably one of my favorite scores of all time. And it is literally in the most mediocre scene in the film, but it's literally elevates it so much. It's literally like panning over like water. And it's like, oh my God, I've got goosebumps. And you're literally, nothing's really even happening.
Some of my favorite bits of the score during this film was like just the bits where they're outside in Ithaca between like just when they're outside. There was sprinkles of the Mandalorian, I thought, in that bits when they're at Ithaca. You could kind of hear that like in the background. And that is literally nothing scenes where they're literally outside the front of the palace or like having a walk around like, and it's still just carrying it. It is crazy. Speaking about Hans Zimmer quickly and how you say like how his stuff's so different, even just look at F1 last year. It's so like just so different to anything he's ever done. Sorry, carry on.
Go for it.
I was just going to say, how lucky are we that literally this year we've had a score from John Williams, which is so underrated. I don't think people have spoke about the score for Disclosure Day enough.
Mm-hmm.
A score from Ludwig in this, and then we're getting Dune Part 3 as well at the end of the year. It is mental, isn't it?
Yeah, Ludwig is really getting up there for me, to be honest. He is fantastic. Obviously, he did Oppenheimer. He did Sinners as well.
Yeah.
Which he delivered some fantastic. And he's done, obviously, Odyssey. And like you mentioned, I was going to get onto it, with using actual instruments from the time. It's just shit like that just sets it apart. It's just using those. He could have just used normal modern day instruments because it's a modern day adaptation of the film, but it just adds that kind of realistic element to it that I really liked. And, in past Nolan films, we've had the scores and sound design in Dunkirk, Interstellar's organs, time, Oppenheimer's silence and explosions. And it's the last 30 minutes of this film in the big fight scenes. Fucking hell, man. Honestly. Blew me away, that did. I felt levitated, man.
Yeah.
I was captivated. I couldn't even speak. Do you know what I mean? It was the intensity just kept on rising just a notch, didn't it? as the scenes played out. Unreal.
Well, you were in the cinema, so if you were speaking, I'd have beat shit out of you. But carry on.
Well, 1, fair enough. 2, fuck out you. Right?
No,
I know we've been talking a long time. I did a pre-warning to you lot. I did tell the boys it's not going to be like a normal episode with loads of games and stuff. We have got a game. We've got a game. It's coming up very soon. This will be a long episode of talking, but I'm enjoying it. I don't know about you two.
Oh yeah.
So obviously we've talked about the sound design. We've talked about a lot of the film. You've mentioned his name already, Hoyte van Hoytema. Correct? Did I get it right?
Hoyte van Hoytema.
Hoyte van Hoytema. Yes.
Hoi hoi.
He's become one of Nolan's most important cinematography collaborators. They've worked together on Interstellar, Dunkirk, Tenet, Oppenheimer, now the Odyssey. He is known for using handheld cameras, shooting primarily on film, and we know Nolan loves that sort of stuff. He's a bit of a nerd for it, isn't he? Loves shooting on physical film rather than digital. Do you think because they share the same passion of handheld and real film making, do you think that passion for them two is why they work so well together compared to other collaborators he might have worked with in his early days?
Yeah, 100%. I think like with Hoytema, I think it is one of them where he tries and includes IMAX as much as he can. Like I've watched a few videos in the past, obviously Odyssey, of him talking about his love for IMAX and him wanting to include it as much as he can. And with Hoytema, I think he focuses a lot on like these close up scenes of to really show like emotion and like kind of make you feel as much connected to like the character as you can. Like with Dunkirk, the bit where they sat on the beach, and obviously I can't remember his name, but the main character when he sat on the beach and they're all waiting and like for the boats to come, the close-up shots in IMAX really set the film apart. With Odyssey, there's a lot of IMAX close-ups. Odyssey exactly the same, and with Odyssey, I think it's even more powerful trying to capture them intimate scenes, especially in IMAX. That focus of the face really just feels like you're there. Like, and I feel like with working with like, I think he must be up there with like one of the best cinematographers going. Like him and Greg Fraser. Like really set them. I feel like with cinematography, like with directors, everyone talks about directors. You talk about Scorsese and stuff, and I feel like a lot of people assume the director's the person behind the camera.
Yeah.
Well, like the cinematographer is so important, and I feel like it's only recent. I don't know if it's because I'm in love with film and stuff, but I feel like now cinematographers get talked about as much as directors do. Where they're like, "Oh my God, Hoytema's doing this. Oh my God, Fraser's doing this." And I feel like it's like with Doom Part 3. I can't remember the cinematographer's name, but they've completely changed the cinematographer with Doom Part 3, and it adds like this totally new element, and it looks completely different. And I feel like it can change a film so much. It's phenomenal.
Like what you were saying then about cinematographers getting more flowers and people actually recognizing cinematographers' work. I think the word cinematography has been thrown around quite a lot in the last probably like 4 years, 5 years. Like the word gets thrown around a lot without like much meaning behind it for the most part, I feel like. Where now I think people are starting to recognize the body of work from a specific cinematographer.
Yeah.
Like you'll watch a Nolan film and you'll be able to identify who has filmed it rather than oh, that's a Nolan film. And he's so important. And,
how do you think Hoytema has changed the way Nolan approaches visuals? Because obviously he's worked with him on quite a few projects now, but they are very different now to what they used to look like. You mentioned about the close-up visuals. The first thing that I focused on, thought of is on my most recent watch is Dunkirk in the plane scenes, where you can only see Tom Hardy's eyes.
Yeah.
But you can feel the emotion and stuff in the film, especially towards the end of that, where he's like, do you know where he's gliding? And he knows he hasn't got any petrol left, but you can see it in his eyes when everyone's cheering. That emotion captured by Hoytema, how do you think that's helped Nolan change and think about? Do you think it's helped him think of shots and how he wants things to look when he's writing a film? Do you think? What do you think?
Yeah, I feel like with it probably, especially in specific scenes, I feel like with Hoytema there, they can really totally change the direction of the film's emotion and mood. Like for instance, where obviously I can't talk too much about spoilers, but towards the end where Robert Pattinson's like kind of behind a post, you know what I'm talking about, and like that close up, it kind of that scene, especially the way Hoytema does it, it shows him so well as like, and obviously Nolan like directing it as well, making him out to be such a coward, and I think like it's done so well. And then obviously like scenes where they're inside the Trojan horse, the close-ups, and like the way some of the angles are, it shows like obviously like how compact it is and how scary it is being in that situation. I feel like Hoytema just does a fantastic job of like just elevating the scenes, like I've said so many times.
His scaling is crazy. Like whether the scale was literally, as you said, like just a pair of eyes, or literally right up in someone's grill, or the scale upsizing everything, making you feel small and everything that you're watching feel big, or vice versa. I think it is. Well, I don't know who ranks higher than him at this moment in time.
I agree.
It's
I feel like the IMAX as well, like where we talk about IMAX a lot with Hoytema as well behind the camera with IMAX. I feel like even with the close-up scenes, it still feels so wide. Like with the like scenes where you think like this close-up shot should be like literally tiny and should kind of fill your screen, but it still looks massive in scale with everything else. I feel like the intimacy, like what Hoytema brings to films, is brilliant.
I wish he'd film my chopper.
Have to get a fucking real super close up of that.
Yeah, there's a challenge for you, fella.
Yeah, capture that. Obviously, we've spent a good hour and 20 minutes now talking about the Odyssey, talking about Hoyte, talking about the sound design. We've mentioned Nolan quite a few times, but I want to just quickly touch briefly on Nolan's legacy and his future. Nolan keeps stepping up the game. He keeps raising that bar, redefining what blockbuster cinema really can be. Every movie feels like he's trying to outdo himself. He's trying to out-challenge himself. He really takes it by the book and goes for it. Where does Nolan go next after the Odyssey? What are you wanting to see?
I think for me, like with Nolan, I feel like a lot of people give him stick saying he's not one of the best and all this, and I think it's absolutely insane to not call him one of the best. I think it's just like he's such a staple in like creating film, like the way he changed everything with The Dark Knight, the way he's changing things now, whether it's obviously filming everything in IMAX. I think with Nolan, I feel like he is there with Kubrick, and like people might come for me in the comments if they're watching the video saying that there's no way to compare him. If you look at Christopher Nolan's film run, I don't think you can name a more consistent director as much as him. Like even when I look at Kubrick, and yeah, he's done stuff like Barry Lyndon, The Shining, 2001: A Space Odyssey, Full Metal Jacket. I think if you go band for band, each film, like 2001, Interstellar, Dunkirk, you have Full Metal Jacket. I feel like they're on par with stuff, and I feel like the only way Nolan can really either beat Kubrick or whatever is to do a horror film. And I know we've all mentioned it. I know we've got so many horror elements in the Odyssey, which we're obviously going to talk about.
Oh, yes.
I feel like horror is definitely, it must be his next step. I can't see him do anything else, and I don't think anyone else wants him to do it more.
I think he's been teasing it as well. We spoke briefly about it last episode that a lot during the press for this, when he's talking about filmmaking and young filmmakers, he's mentioned Cory Barker a lot. He's mentioned Obsession. He's mentioned Backrooms. And I think it's a tease, personally. And after seeing the Odyssey, and there's so many different aspects of horror and thriller thrown into it during that journey, again, I think it's just foreshadowing it now. Like, I trust whatever he's going to do next. But I would love for it to be a horror.
I don't even know where he goes next, because obviously he did Oppenheimer and then he's done the Odyssey. It's like it's stepping it up again. I don't know how he keeps doing it, man. It's quite impressive how he actually comes up with the next film idea. To be honest, it is very, very impressive. And as touching on he is one of the greatest filmmakers to ever exist.
Yeah, I think the more I think about it, like I know I love Scorsese, and I think he's done some fantastic films, but the amount of like variety Nolan has done, I found it hard not to put him as the best.
So I've now got 5 Nolan films at 5 stars and 4 at 4.5. then I have 2 4s and 3.5s. Out of 13 films, 9 of them are rated 4.5 or above. How could I ever sit here and say that he's not one of the greatest to ever do it?
Yeah.
Is there? No, that touched on that question, so that's sorted. I was going to say, is there any genre left for him to conquer? But yeah, we all want horror. We want the horror. I'm going to quickly touching on what you mentioned about Curryback and obsession and things like. Maybe it's a motivation, not just a teaser. Could be a motivation for him to think, I'm going to do this. Which Nolan film is your most underrated?
I think a lot of people do have it quite high, and I see people mixed about it. But I feel like for me, The Prestige. I know people praise it a lot, and it's hard to call any of Nolan's films underrated. But I think The Prestige is so good. I feel like the way the twist is. I think it brought the best out of Hugh Jackman and Christian Bale. Obviously got Scarlett Johansson and stuff in there. I just think it's hard to like all of his other films. What I have lower than Prestige are good, and like I feel like Dunkirk, even though people call that underrated, I feel like a lot of people have it quite highly rated. Obviously, you had it low, now you put it higher. I think The Prestige for me is easily probably his most underrated.
Yeah. Joe?
I think Dunkirk gets slept on a lot. I think for people that love film, it's quite high now. But like as you were saying before you've rewatched it, you don't think of it as like the upper echelon of like a Nolan film. Memento as well, rewatched that recently. It's completely different to a lot of his stuff. I think Insomnia to an extent, like people, because it's like low in a Nolan in a Nolan ranking, people think of it as a shit film. It's not a shit film.
Yeah, it's Dunkirk for me. As someone who's done basically a full 360 on the film, within a week of calling it shit now to having it his 7th best ranked film, potentially even 6th, because I'm in like a conundrum of, do I even think it's better than Prestige? Going from towards the bottom to outside top 5 is a pretty drastic jump, and it really is a fantastic film. I cried multiple times. It's beautiful. Yeah. It looks beautiful, sounds beautiful. The acting's good. The non-linear storytelling really does make much more sense now I watched it again. Fantastic film.
Well, hey.
What do you think defines a Christopher Nolan film? Is it the non-linear storytelling?
I think time's probably the
time and memory. Time and memory. He's been on that since 2000.
Yeah, I feel like with Memento, obviously, there's a lot of memory stuff. Tenet, again, a lot of memory stuff.
Odyssey's memory as well.
Yeah,
starts off with him trying to figure out what the fuck's going on.
Yeah, I think that obviously it's a constant trying to remember what's happened and why he is where he is. But I'd say memory and time. I think it's more like just like the mental aspect for an Odyssey, an Nolan.
Yeah. These are just a few quick fire questions. Which Nolan ending is the best?
Ooh.
I think Interstellar for me.
Yeah, I would say the same.
Is it recency bias to say the Odyssey?
I think it's good.
Final 45 minutes is special.
Yeah.
The Prestige?
Yeah, The Prestige is good. Even I know a lot of people don't like it, but Dark Knight Rises with
I love the ending to Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah, with
just a little.
Yeah, just like with the
little coffee shop.
Yeah, people hate that ending. I absolutely love it. Inception again with the
on the plane.
Yeah,
I think for me, it might be Inception.
Yeah, Inception's really good. I think Interstellar's definitely mine. I think the whole emotional ending, obviously everything coming to fruition, and then the bit where he's like, "No, it's time to go and find her." I think that's just like cherry on top.
I love the ending to Inception with the totem.
Yeah.
Some good shit.
Question.
Best performance in a Nolan film?
Cillian Murphy.
Yeah,
Cillian Murphy.
I think
Scarecrow.
I think Robert Downey Jr. is up there as well, though, with Cillian Murphy in that film. He's such a great villain. And obviously, you got Heath Ledger as well. Like, we've not even fucking mentioned him, but yeah, like
Heath Ledger in The Dark Knight.
I'd probably say Cillian Murphy.
Cillian Murphy. Matthew McConaughey's great in Interstellar as well.
Yeah.
The best Nolan opening scene.
Might have to be Dark Knight Rises.
It's The Dark Knight for me.
Oh,
the
shit.
bank.
The bank.
I think
yeah, the bank or the plane.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
They're both on par.
I do like the plane.
Oh.
Yeah. Perhaps I'm wondering why someone would shoot a man before throwing him out of a plane.
Oh.
Someone has to shoot me.
No, brother. They expect one of us is in the wreckage. The fire.
Where is the man with the beanie?
Why the fuck does he always shave his face? And finally, what do you think is the best Nolan action sequence?
Oh, I mean, I could pick 4 from this film.
I think there's a lot in the Odyssey.
Mine's Tenet.
I was going to say Tenet, the backwards in the hallway.
Fucking hell, it's good, man. You need to see Tenet, Joe. I think it's going to surprise you.
Thing is, I'm saving it because last year, obviously, they did Nolan season.
Good.
I had it booked, but I watched Interstellar, Oppenheimer, and Inception on back-to-back days. And by the 4th, I was like, because I'd not seen Tenet, I think I was a bit like, whatever. If I'd have seen it, I would have watched it, I think, like, even though it would have been 4th day in a row. So, but I want to save it, I think, to watch it in a cinema.
Yeah.
Every time I've watched a Nolan film, the first time I've seen it is in cinema. So I want to, well, that's not true. From the Batman trilogy onwards, I'd say.
Yeah, I remember watching Batman Begins in cinema, and Dark Knight Rises was my first IMAX experience ever in my life. I was 13. And my dad let me skip school, and I watched it at 7 o'clock.
Great age. Fantastic age.
So we've done a lot of talking now about the Odyssey. I think it's going to be a nice little break up to do a game before we get into the main spoilers of the Odyssey. So what we're going to play is guess the official Nolan movie tagline. I'm going to read out the official movie tagline. You are going to get to guess it. If nobody gets it, I could either give you a clue or just reveal it for you. Okay. Starting off with, are you watching closely?
Prestige.
Boom.
Well, hey.
Your mind is the scene of the crime.
Memento?
No.
Inception.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was
Inception. Welcome to the world without rules.
Dark Knight.
Yeah.
Well, hey.
The world forever changes.
Oppenheimer.
Oh, we're fucking good, aren't we?
Evil fears the night.
Rises.
No.
Oh, that begins then, yeah.
Begins. A fire will rise.
Rises.
Survival is victory.
Odyssey.
No.
Tenet.
Ooh.
Oh, Dunkirk.
Mankind was born on Earth. It was never meant to die here.
Interstellar.
Yeah.
Interstellar. Some memories are best forgotten.
Oh, Memento.
And finally, defy the gods.
Odyssey.
Oh. The following.
Yeah. So that was like a little break-up. Now it's time for the main discussion, the Odyssey, and we're going to be going into full spoilers. So I'm guessing if you're around at this time, you've probably seen it. If not, you know what to do. What was everyone's first reactions walking out of the Odyssey? Speechless. I couldn't even fucking say a word. Literally, I remember me, Joe, Minno, right? I'll call him Minale. Walk downstairs. They're doing the IMAX thing. Me and Joe was, do we go do the IMAX thing? No. We're all right. What do you think of the film, Luke? I couldn't speak. It was unreal. Unlike anything I have ever experienced before in my life. 70mm BFI. That final 45 minutes, man. What do we think to it?
It was sublime. Same as you. Just I didn't know what to say. But every time, like, because we were near the top, so we got out of the screening quite quickly. So we had like different waves of people that we knew kept saying, "What do you think? What do you think?" And every time we were just going, "I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say." And so, and like that could be taken in a negative way for some people, but I think it's the biggest compliment. Just being like, I'm just in awe. I'm speechless. A lot. I think the word levitating has been used a lot, and it's
true.
It's for good reason, because it is. It literally makes you feel like you are coming out of your seat.
Yep.
It's incredible. I cannot wait to talk about specific scenes now, because it's fucking
Okay.
I think it's one of them where, like you said, like obviously you're trying to comprehend what you've just watched, and like obviously I walked out of it, and obviously I was there with like obviously Leah, and I kind of just said to like, "What did you think of it?" And she was just like amazing. And I think everyone was kind of the same. It's like you kind of don't really want to talk to anyone. You're just trying to like think of what you've just seen. And obviously I was there with Seth, and like obviously he said what he said. I don't want to talk about like his opinion too much, because obviously he's got his own stuff. But it was kind of just like you're just trying to think in. I don't know. It's like you're just speechless. Like it's hard to even talk. It was more afterwards for me. Like when I went back, I was like, obviously I went back to my room and set my camera up, and I was trying to review it. And honestly, God, it must have took me about 10 times just to talk about my first initial thoughts. And then I think it's probably one of the most passionate videos I've ever made, like talking about my initial thoughts coming out of it. And then it was more like the morning after, and you're just thinking about every scene, and you're like, oh, fucking hell, that bit, and oh, that bit, and then you're thinking about, oh, I love this bit. And like for me, it was even more annoying. Like obviously you two could talk about it, and like for me, like I didn't really have anyone talk about it. Like even though like Leah like enjoys films, she doesn't know films as much as like you two know films. So it's kind of like you just like kind of like this. You just like come on, like come on. It's like you can't keep yourself contained, and it's like I want to talk to people about the Odyssey, and I've waited fucking so many days, and like it's so good. It's so good.
Let's fucking get into it. Everyone's been talking about the horror elements. Let's talk about that Cyclops scene, also linking it to the underworlds. What were going through your mind, man? Because I didn't expect it to be like that.
I think that for me, like the Cyclops scene, it was like, one, you're seeing it, because obviously we've seen it in the trailer, but seeing it obviously on the big screen is completely different. And just like the way obviously he enters, like the whole like sounds he's making, obviously everyone's on edge. Obviously it's absolutely terrifying. The design of it, because it looks so human, but it isn't. Like obviously it is and it isn't. It's just like the scale of it's so scary. And then obviously when he attacks the soldiers and like he eating them and the crunching of the sound, again sound coming into it, and obviously just the angle of the camera showing out the scale of how big he is.
Mm-hmm.
It's genuinely insane. And obviously, I don't want to talk about the other elements. I think we should go through one each at a time. But obviously, you go into your thoughts on Cyclops.
I can't believe how they've pulled that off me. Do you know, like you've heard many people saying like social reactions and that of everyone saying, you know, the scale, and everyone's witnessing you stood there and you're saying, I don't know how he's done it. I don't know how they've made that. It's like with the fire included as well, where you can't really see him. The Cyclops, and then he's there, and then you hear the fucking bones crunching, you see the flesh off the face. I do wish it was a little bit more gory, I will say. I wish, like, do you know, when there's a specific one where and he eats the head. I wish when he pulled away, like blood just like dropped down the chest of the Cyclops. So I thought that would be like fucking just add that little bit of extra spice.
I think that adds to the horror element though, because like obviously we saw it in the trailer, but all we saw of it in the trailer is that bit where he's like stood there holding the soldier. But it's the bits that you can't see him as well that it's so fucking scary. Like the scale is huge, and because you can just see darkness, and then you're looking for a silhouette, and as he comes into frame and gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and you just get this big grey fucking humanoid thing. it's so scary. And then the sound design throughout that, different elements like the crunching of the bones to start with, dropping the helmet, and all you can hear is just like the rattling of the helmet as it spins out on the floor. And then when they attack him and he cries, I genuinely, I think that's the best. That's the best sounding sequence I've ever seen, ever heard. I think that honestly sent shivers like everywhere, and it's doing it now. And like I'm just hearing it in my head of that squealy hum that sort of like just infused the entire screening of just it's mesmerizing.
Yeah.
With the horror elements, there was 2 more scenes for me. There was the underworlds where they give the blood to the sacrifice, and then you get Elliot Page's character come back, and then you get
Agamemnon as well.
Yeah,
and I think that whole scene of the sequence of him, where obviously he comes into frame, he's talking about obviously what's happened and what happened to him when obviously he got back to I can't think what the place is called, when he gets back home, obviously.
Yeah,
and then the way like when he like retracts back into the crowd, obviously he's not walking, so it's like kind of like this hover, and he hovers back.
My God.
And then the way obviously Elliot Page's character comes into frame with this like dark and muddy face and stuff, it is so good.
I thought Elliot Page played the role perfectly.
Perfect casting.
It's unbelievable casting. I've said it a few times on videos today I've seen of people talking about Elliot Page's performance, and people are like realizing how good the casting is perfect. Like, I know there's been a lot of shit because people for whatever reason thought he was playing Achilles and he's not.
I can't wait.
I can't wait for people to shut up. Yeah,
are gonna look stupid as fuck.
Yeah,
I
don't think people are. No one will admit it either. No one's going to eat their words. Or there'll be silence, which is perfect.
All those motherfuckers that were transphobic and giving Elliot Page shit are going to come out of that film, and how they can sit there afterwards and think, "Fuck me, I'm done." I don't know how they won't think that. And everyone else who's also kind of like jumped on the bandwagon is like, "Hang on, you've got Elliot Page playing Achilles," and then they're going to watch. The perfect casting is going to be fantastic. I can't wait for it.
I've seen even on Twitter today because I've seen a couple of people have filmed like for out of context the sequence at the start when he runs across the dunes towards the Trojan horse. People going, "Oh my God, have you seen his run? That's fucking ridiculous." The point of it is that he has been the bigger person, even though he is the smaller man. Hence why the casting's brilliant, because he's really small in stature, but he's strong at heart and big-willed and stuff. And the sacrifice that he makes literally sells the entire premise of the film, and it changes Odysseus's outlook on leadership, power. It changes the entire dynamic of the film.
Revenge,
and when you see
the whole revenge aspect of it as well, it's
Odysseus
part of the character.
Odysseus even takes the name later on in the film.
Yeah, his honor. It's fucking
his honor.
Fucking insane.
And how that whole role played out, how Odysseus knew that was going to happen. That sacrifice, he knew that was going to happen, and still let it play out.
It's one of them where I think with Odysseus, he's made so many decisions, which has totally changed how he like. Obviously, it's one of them where when we see certain scenes, we don't know what's happened yet. Obviously, with like the siege of Troy and stuff, we learn about obviously like women and children getting killed, which is like obviously horrifying because he knows because of his idea and what he's done to get home, like the sacrifice that he's made. It's like he doesn't want to make that sacrifice, and he has to let his men make that sacrifice. It's like you knew what happened, but it's like he had to do what he's got to do for get home to save everyone.
Yeah, I agree. So the other major point was with the
Cersei,
the Lestrygonians.
Oh,
the big soldiers kind of thing. That scene was intense. And then again, we get the close up with Hoytema of Matt Damon's striking fear of what's about to go down. Them destroying the boats in the water as Odysseus is sailing off, and they are just getting destroyed by these mammoths of people was
I think
insane.
I think that's one of the best aspects of the entire film, like the visualization of like destruction and how real destruction looked like. Even like in that scene at the start with the trees, when they're launching soldiers through trees and the trees are snapping, and you get the sound of like the tree snapping and how real it is.
Yeah.
The siege of Troy, and the destruction of that. The boats getting destroyed. The boats getting destroyed in multiple aspects of the film. It's just so real and feels. That's I don't
I
really
love
know
the
how else
whole
to describe
like
it.
the aspect of like the trees moving as well, like kind of like the fantasy element, like the trees moving and trapping them into like these
Trapping them inside.
where they can't get out, and then the horrified, like the close ups of the faces, and then even just like the opening, the start of that whole scenario where they get on the island and they see this figure, and obviously it's like this child version, and then he just starts screaming again. The sound aspect, he screams, and it just absolutely rings in your ears, and then it's just like, holy shit, what's going to happen here? And then it's just like the terror of everyone, and then obviously they leave, and then obviously it's one of them where Odysseus knows that they can't sail off and leave the island, to the point where they end up finding Circe, and then we get this like spirited away sequence. It's fucking insane. Obviously, then they go up the. Obviously, Odysseus ends up splitting off, using his bow to kill the deer. Ends up being a human. Then you've got all these like the people on his boat go up the stairs. They end up in Circe's like house, and she's like, "Oh yeah, come and have the food." And then they're scoffing down this food.
Oh, that scene was making me feel sick.
It's like Spirited Away. Obviously, like when her parents are being greedy, eating all the food, and then they can't stop eating, and then she like morphs them. It's like very David Cronenberg-esque.
Yeah.
Like horror,
Hands in the mouth.
in the face, and then like bending the mouth, and then the pigs. It's fucking insane. And then obviously when Odysseus gets there and realizes what's going on, it's fucking brilliant.
Shout out Samantha Morton as well for the acting performance of Circe. Was insane.
Yeah.
That was a scene, mate. That was a freaky scene. Do you know what?
So scary.
I'm now thinking now, I was just talking about the horror elements, and I was thinking of the Cyclops, and I was thinking of the underworld. Every step of the journey for Odysseus, told in the non-linear storytelling. And for people, obviously, who want to know about it, who haven't watched it, or if you've watched it, we'll all know. The way the story is told is Matt Damon is on a beach with... what's she called?
Charlize Theron, Calypso.
Charlize Theron's Calypso, and she's been giving him like White Lotus that makes him forget things.
Some good shit.
Well, it's to save him at first, isn't it? So obviously to numb the pain, because obviously he's been at sea because of what's happened. And then obviously it's one of them where when she starts talking, Calypso actually falls in love with Odysseus and keeps him there for like years and years and years.
7 years. I didn't know she was an immortal goddess until after.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's like Calypso is in Pirates of the Caribbean, isn't it?
Yeah. So she keeps it. And how we get told the story is he's telling Calypso, trying to regain his memory of what's actually happened, and then we get to see the whole journey of Odysseus returning back from the Trojan War. Every moment is horrifying. If you think about it. Like, I come to learn afterwards that, do you know, the scene where you've got the whirlpool, but then you go right, and then you get taken out by, I think I can't pronounce it. It's Sealer. That bit got me as a jump scare. You know, where it comes out of nowhere and starts ripping people off the boat.
Yeah.
So, Sealer is a six-headed sea monster, but I'm pretty sure, if I might be wrong here because I don't really know the source material, but it is Circe that turned her into that.
Oh, really?
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure it goes back to Circe created that.
Yeah, it's all about like the god who you believe in, isn't it? Because obviously with Odysseus, they believe in like the god of Circe, and that's who like they stick their hand and stuff like that.
Because also the whirlpool is also another like immortal thing that's drinking the sea, basically.
Yeah,
that creates that whirl. It's not just a normal whirlpool. That's another like godlike mythological figure, which is quite cool.
Yeah.
Can't remember the name of it though. What did you think? What did you think to the sirens?
I thought that was a brilliant. Again, obviously we talked about the sound aspect of it, but I liked. Obviously, again, they went practical for having all them people on that rock. I've seen that. Matt Damon spoke about when they filmed that scene. They had to, obviously, 'cause it was 3 minutes at a time. They had to film that scene. Obviously, the people stayed on the rock. It was like trained specialists because of how they had to get onto it. And then obviously they filmed the 3 minutes, and then they had to do a full round trip for 20 minutes, but come back to film another 3 minutes, and then obviously keep doing that every time. And then it's just like obviously Matt Damon spent all day tied up, which is like crazy. But that sequence of him, like the close again, Hoyte van Hoytema, like the close up of him screaming, the amount of pain he must be in, and then it's the way like even then he still has no control over his men. He's warned them, keep you like you're waxing. And then one of them like crumbles and ends up jumping in the sea because he can't help. It's like the temptation constantly. It's a fucking brilliant scene.
Would have you have liked to get a little glimpse to hear it?
I don't know. I kind of like the mystery of it.
Yeah, so
like,
do I.
Like you're tempted as well.
Mm. Yeah, you sat on the edge of your seat.
I think that's what it is. It also made me feel tempted to the point that I want to hear it.
Yeah. Which is genius and the point, isn't it, I suppose.
Yeah, and then the whole explanation scene of him saying it's like kind of all his mistakes and like it's kind of like the trauma of it. And I think that's really great as well.
So obviously the language being used has been a big conversation throughout the film. Do you think it worked? Would have you liked a bit of Greek in there? I can't remember the specific point, but I'm sure there was some foreign language speaking in parts of the film. I can't particularly remember. Or maybe I'm tripping.
I can't remember it personally. It could have been.
I can't remember reading any subtitles or anything like that. I can't remember. I'm not really sure, but I didn't really mind it. I know people have spoke about, Tom Holland said dad. And it's kind of like one of them where I didn't notice it. I wasn't looking for it. I wasn't bothered. Yeah. Where like I could understand him probably maybe saying further instead for try and keep like the period side of it right. But it's being it all in English and not being Greek. Who cares? Like honestly, like I think like you look at films like Troy and Gladiator, no one fucking mourned then. So like, are you supposed to create a film which is so accessible for then to limit itself by the dialogue, by the characters?
The same people, genuinely, there'll be people that will shit on it for this, but they'll watch Percy Jackson where there's gods in it, and they're speaking to their kids and the demigods in normal current English.
Yeah.
Like what's like you can't pick and choose which one you're pissed off at. It's an adaptation. It's literally an adaptation to appeal to modern audiences, and it makes it more accessible
as well.
Yeah, it makes it more accessible. If the whole thing was said in like not Shakespearean, but that sort of like what I'm getting at, like that sort of that diet, not even dialect. Just if it's spoken in that sort of way for 3 hours, it would feel like a 4-hour film.
Yeah,
and it would.
In House of Dragon, where like House of Dragon, normal's fine. When they do that Shakespearean shit, like in some of the episodes, it really makes the episode drag. Like, and we've spoke about it previously on the podcast.
Yeah,
go on.
It doesn't feel accessible to me when you listen to stuff in in that language. It makes it feel like you're watching like posh stuff, that sort of stuff. I think. Yeah, I agree.
Let's watch like Romeo and Juliet by Baz Luhrmann. It's like fucking hell.
So obviously with the Odyssey, it's mythological, it's Greek. Trojan War. What do you think to the Troy sequences when we find out at the end what really happened compared to the beginning? Because at the beginning, we don't really see much of it, do we? We see glimpses scattered throughout, but then you really get to see it through Odysseus's eyes, basically, of the horrors of what really took place there.
Yeah, I think it's brilliant. I feel like for me, like one of my favorite aspects was obviously when he's talking to Penelope through the screen, telling her what kind of happened at Troy. Yeah. And when you get the glimpse of Zendaya's character being obviously a civilian, and then the way he looks at her being Cersei the god, I think it's, again, getting fucking goosebumps talking about it. I think it is so good. It is such a great little touch. It's so minute, but it's such a great touch. And then I think it's just one of them where it reflects, like, it's one of them where he would have loved to have come home to Penelope, but it's one of them where it's like, did he deserve to come home after what he'd done at Troy?
Yeah.
I think it really is like a great emotional touch.
It's one of those that I can imagine like rewatching it tomorrow. It's going to be such a different. It's going to change the way I look at it. When every time that Athena comes on screen now, you're seeing both characters. You're seeing her as the human as well, and like how it's not torturing Odysseus. It's sort of like teaching him, but also is a reminder of what's happened. Where before you're just looking at her as like almost like a comfort to him, where it's a completely different take when we were going to watch it again. And the way that you see Troy, like at the start, you see it like, oh my God, this big plan is working. And then you see the siege for the first time, you're like, that is so sick, like how they've taken it. And then seeing it through his eyes again at the end and how tragic. And as you mentioned earlier, Eccy, about when it shows the 10 years of anger built up living on that beach and stuff, and how that unfolds and how he's seeing it as in like, oh my God, I've literally defied Zeus's law. And all of this is because of me, even though that he's not enacting it himself.
Yeah.
It's fucking genius. It is genius.
The Trojan horse scene was amazing on how they got in. That was epic, mate. I really wish I got to see that Trojan horse in person because they had one in London, didn't they? Now, when we went to the BFI, there was one in London. I didn't even know where it was.
Yeah, it was the same one what they had at the premiere for me.
How big was it in person to look at?
It's like you look at it. Like, I remember obviously me and Leah arrived at Leicester Square before we got onto the carpet, and I remember looking up and I was like, "Fucking hell! Look at it." It's just like it's unimaginable. And then it's one of them where even though it is so big, so I imagine a whole army of people being inside of it, how tight and compact it is, especially when some of them have died because it's been in the sea that long. It's just crazy.
It was full of autograph scalpers. It was.
Has watching the Odyssey made you want to read the book or do audio for it?
A lot of stuff does that with me, but I'm not gonna pretend and thinking, but I am terrible at reading books. I'm not like the cleverest person. Obviously, I really love films and stuff, but I don't know why, but I visually can't see a book, and I don't know. I'm just terrible at it. When I read, I don't have the attention span for it, even though I love to do it. There's so many books what I'd love to read, like Project Hail Mary. Obviously, I know Mickey 17, the books might be amazing. I'd love to read the Odyssey, but
I think I'm going to do audio for it.
Yeah, I'd love to try and do it. Like same with Lord of the Rings as well. I'd love to try and read it, but
if you just a little segue with Lord of the Rings, if you're struggling to read it, the best audio version to listen to, Andy Serkis recorded the full audio version, doing voices for every single character throughout COVID.
Oh, really?
It is incredible. Literally all three books. The whole thing's Andy Serkis. It's so good.
He's amazing, is Andy Serkis, isn't he?
Yeah.
And we almost spoke to him.
So, what's your favourite part of the film?
I think the end, like with Penelope getting all the suitors into the room, locking them in. Obviously, you've got Odysseus like with a cape over his head, pretending he's like no one's helping him and stuff. And then the way she gives the ball, everyone's trying it. Robert Pattinson being such a fucking pussy. He won't even try and do it, leaves it till the very last, knows he can't do it. And he's like, no one else of us can do it. And then Odysseus steps up. He tries at first, but obviously he's been on this battle for a long time. And then the way he picks it up and then just goes ding. And then Penelope's like, oh shit, it's about to go down. No, straight away, let's close these fucking shutters. And it's one of them where, again, it calls back to Odysseus constantly always plucking the string to warn his enemies that he's coming to make it fair for everyone. And it's like one of them where he plucks it and it's like everyone's like, shit, it's Odysseus, he's back. And then, it's so good. That is easily my favourite scene. And obviously, like, he shoots it, the ball goes all the way between the axes. It's fucking so good.
It shows that ball a few times throughout, doesn't it, Eve? I really liked how it showed it back in the day. You know, when he did it previously, he does it in a very specific way where he pulls it down.
Yeah.
When he does it, goes for it the second time, and he goes into that kind of stance to pull it. I'm pretty sure I remember sat next to Joe, fucking shoulder nudged him. And oh shit! Because I knew it was about to go down. And mate, with Ludwig Göransson's score just fucking going off, intense. It gets intense every 5 to 10 seconds. It increases like the tempo. You have then obviously Tom Holland having a fight, and that gets the call back to when he's training and being smarter and stuff like that, and he wins that fight. Every single person's story arc is tied off within seconds of each other.
Yeah.
It's like bang, 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 bang. Every person's story arc.
I loved it when it cuts to Pattinson's face and his like realization, and it kind of like echoes the audience realization of like not the audience's realization, but the audience's expression of like, oh my god, like he's just revealed himself, and Pattinson's obviously like, oh fuck, he's revealed himself, like so scared, but you're so elated, and the sound that after it plucks, seeing Penelope close those doors and just say to Mia Goth, going, yeah, you belong in there, basically. Yeah, fuck off, mate. Shut the door. Oh god. Yeah, just incredible. That final like 45 from seeing the Siege of Troy, from Odysseus' perspective. From there on, it is literally like it is flawless. There's nothing wrong with it.
And even go on.
My favorite part of the film is the conversation of Odysseus talking to Penelope through the like shutter.
Yeah.
Do you think Penelope knew that was Odysseus from the start?
Yeah, that's why she did the trial, because I think she knew then.
Right. Okay, so I was questioning on whether she knew that. I loved the way Odysseus was speaking, the whole dialogue between the two, and you could see Penelope's emotion through the like the blind, basically.
Again, cinematography coming into it as well, like lighting and the close-up sequence is fucking.
And the same with the Cyclops, where he's got his hood up and you can't see his face at all, and he's got this sort of like Grim Reaper. When it goes from him being like the beggar and you can see his face still, and he's a beggar, to then like before it goes down and it changes where you can't see him at all, and it's like, oh my god, and you're just waiting to see his face in any little speck then at that point. And then when you do start to see his face, or he starts to turn around, we were going, fuck. And you were expecting him to say, I'm Odysseus. And when he didn't, we were like, oh, fucking hell, I'm not gonna. And you're waiting again for him to do it. Oh my Christ. It's just fucking flawless.
I absolutely loved everything from the moment he stepped back on Ithaca. Everything with the dog as well.
Yeah, that's the point. That dog, like the whole, like, obviously seeing his upbringing, like him being a pup, the way I can't remember his name, the guy who's blind, dropping him off the cliff and stuff, and it, like Odysseus is like, whoa, save that one, and then he's obviously dying. He's been left on this like fucking pile of shit outside the temple, and then it's the way like Odysseus is like returning home to his family, sees this dog, it's dying, and then he goes over to it. It's so sad. And then he goes over to it, and it's like sniffing him, and like Tom Holland comes to the realization that he knows it's his dad, and then it's like the way obviously like he just touches it slightly, and obviously like the dog like passes away. It is so sad. Like I remember being in absolute tears watching that. Like obviously I've got dogs myself. Like coming home to your dogs is like one of the best feelings ever, and like that sequence, like his dog's waited all them years, and like but when people thought he was dead and everything, this dog's like stayed. And I think it's such a touching part to the film. It's unreal.
You two know 2 years ago that I went abroad, and then when I came back, I said that my cat was in the corner, and like it waited. I believe it fully waited for us to come home before it died, because I was home an hour and my cat had died.
Yeah,
but it waited for us to come home without a shadow of a doubt, and gave us that final goodbye. I remember it vividly in the corner next to the water bowl, just like as soon as we walked through the door, had a look and like collapsed. Then we took it to the vets, had the injection. She couldn't even move 30 minutes before. She was in my arms, sat up on the table, took like a look at me, Minnow, and her mum, and then just passed away. Like, mate. So that scene got me with the dog for sure, because it's like I'd almost felt like I'd lived that moment.
Yeah.
Before. Fucking real sad.
I think it adds this whole another like emotional I think it's like the most prominent emotional aspect of the film, because even though kind of the dog's all the way throughout the film, it's not something you really take notice of. You just think, oh, it's fucking tight as fuck, them kicking this dog about. And then it's like I think it's a great way of like Odysseus never ever saying, and Odysseus. Like, I think it's like, obviously he passes away. It's like he's constantly like, he doesn't need to tell anyone who he is. Everyone knows who he is by showing it.
Yeah. It's like, that's what I mean. That also ties in. That dog story arc even got tied off.
Yeah.
In the final bit. Insane. And then obviously you got Tom Holland realising who his dad is. I loved the way Odysseus was talking.
Yeah.
It was very like Jedi Master-esque. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like realised what the war had done, what really did he accomplish, everything. He was questioning his own like morality. It was insane. That conversation with Penelope was insane.
Yeah.
I also forgot to mention as well about he goes and saves Tom Holland.
Yeah, that whole scene with like
crazy.
the flickering lights and stuff like that. Like, obviously the flickering of the fire and like it's only glowed up in certain aspects and stuff. That's fucking brilliant as well.
Insane.
I felt a bit tight on old on what's his name, Ryan? Is it Ryan Hurst?
Ryan Hurst.
Yeah,
Ryan Hurst. Yeah, when like he knows what they're doing, and Odysseus lets him drink it before he starts to kick off. It's like,
but it's the way as well when he goes over his body. He sees that it's Odysseus, and that kind of has the realization, like,
yeah,
that's so good.
Yeah, it's definitely made more. So talking about it now solidifies the position of the Nolan ranking, by the way. Yeah, for sure, man. I'm getting more excited now.
I think there's so many aspects to talk about, because obviously, like, we're talking about all these points here, and obviously, like, you could literally talk about certain aspects of the film so much, and like you just skip past them because it's so good.
Anne Hathaway was fantastic.
Yeah,
fucking unreal. Did you know the scene where she's with Tom Holland and she's talking about remarrying and stuff? And she shouts at him like, "I want a Sidious," or "Bring me a Sidious," or something along those lines. That was summit, man. Tom Holland as well. I know we've all talked about the performances earlier on in this episode, and there's probably not much more that we can say that's really like here, but fucking hell, they worked so well together, did Anne Hathaway and Tom Holland.
Yeah.
Really, really, really bounced off each other. They're some of my favourite scenes in the film where they're talking.
And it's one of them where, again, with Odysseus, it's kind of all about loyalty. And with, like, obviously his friend who's blind, constantly, like, does the rule of Zeus, obviously letting people in, helping people no matter what. Even when he's just been, like, ravaged by everyone and doesn't really have much, he still offers Odysseus into his home. And it kind of is like, all right, okay, he's still loyal. And then it's the way he goes to Tom Holland. You tell your mom, like, she could, like, if she wants to remarry, she can remarry. She can do whatever she wants. And then it's the way he's like, she's like, no, I only want him. And all this, and then proves herself to Odysseus as well.
And
like,
after I take my hood off, boy, I'm gonna bum her head off.
What a real woman as well. Waited fucking years for him.
Yeah. Proper loyalty.
Yeah, because it was. Now you're saying, because I did wonder if she knew that was Odysseus from that lovely conversation they had, because she switched like that, didn't she?
Yeah.
When I want the trial.
She was like, I need to speak to that man who entered the thing, because obviously, like, he went and asked for food. She was like, I need to speak to that beggar. And then he comes and she goes like, oh, so you know Odysseus. And obviously he takes this new name. And then she's like, he explains the pin to her. She's like, because obviously she says, you wear this pin, like, nobody lies. And it's the way he describes the pin. Oh, yeah, he had it on all the time, blah, blah, blah. I think she's like, yeah, it's him.
Yeah, you know what you were saying then about some of your favourite scenes with Tom Holland and his dialogue with someone else? One of my favourite bits we haven't touched on yet is when he's at Sparta talking to John Bernthal. And when John Bernthal finishes his story about Odysseus and it cuts to Tom Holland and he's crying, like listens to stories about Odysseus. That is unbelievable as well. Tom Holland's performance there, where he's there in tears, because it's like he's been a bit like that in like Spider-Man films. I feel like that emotional side, like when Aunt May dies, he gets to that sort of level, and then this is just like elevated on a different scale.
Now, moving on to now, we're on to that side of Sparta with John Bernthal. What did you think of Lupita Nyong'o playing Helena Troy?
Oh, brilliant.
She was fantastic.
I think it's such a stupid thing to talk about race and stuff into a film.
I do too.
I think it's such a pointless thing, like talking about, like especially the scene, like they're talking about the scene in the trailer, saying like, "Oh, look at her," blah blah blah, and then which is just stupid in itself. And then obviously when you watch the film and you understand the level of what's going on in that scene, where obviously Agamemnon is like sacrificing their child, and she's like screaming out in pain, and then obviously like you get the whole thing of when he returns home after winning Troy, and like obviously she's all dressed up, she's got her makeup done and all this, and like she's Helena Troy. Like it's literally stupid people talking about. It's so annoying, like the whole race aspect of it.
She's a person, and I don't know, like if there's anything else, but the only thing I like know about Helena Troy is that she's supposed to be like incredibly like stunning and stuff. And Lupita Nyong'o, like to be blunt, is fit as fuck.
She's like fire, boy.
That is literally the point of it.
I care more about an actor's performance than I do the way they look.
It's one of them as well, where like people compare her to Diane Kruger, and obviously like Diane Kruger is absolutely brilliant. But again, like they're comparing Diane Kruger and they pick like the most beautiful shot of her in the film with obviously makeup on and all the hair done, and then they'll compare her to Lupita Nyong'o, but they'll pick her in like a film where obviously I don't know if it's 12 Years a Slave or something, where she's all malnourished, and obviously they'll have makeup on to make her look all like obviously she's like a slave in that film. How can you even compare the two roles by them two images?
I mean,
ridiculous. If you think her when she's obviously Helen of Troy, when she's all done up and blah blah blah, to obviously Diane Kruger, it's very similar.
Yeah.
And obviously one of them, it's all like beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Just because you don't fucking fancy her, don't mean everyone else can't fancy her. You know what I mean? It's like
people being arseholes for the sake of being arseholes. They don't give a shit. They couldn't care less. If they, it's literally just people jumping on the bandwagon, and it's completely pointless. And even the still that they're using of her in the film, saying where like she's like angry, that's not even Helen of Troy. That's her sister. That's the still they're using when she's like screaming when the kid's about to be sacrificed. It's literally a different character. That shot you're using, saying Helena Troy's supposed to be like this and composed and all this, and this is her. Well, it's not her actually. You fucking moron. Watch the film.
Exactly. And she's fantastic in the role she plays. And if you're going to get mad over someone playing a fucking literally probably 5 minutes in a film, then you're probably a bit of a sad away out of a 3-hour film, right?
Yeah.
I think it's one of them where it's like, for me, like, obviously, I'm like, it's probably a bit more ignorant from me where I feel like, it sounds stupid for a second, but you feel like racism isn't as bad as it used to be. And then, like, you see something like this and you think, fucking hell, like, you're like,
grow up a bit.
Like, yeah, he's like, think like the times what we're in. Obviously, I'm this white male. Obviously, it's like I've never experienced like racism, and it's like for me, you think it's like non-existent. Obviously, where I live and stuff like that, you think it's thingy, and then you watch like obviously I've done reviews on it. I've put tweets out. It is absolutely insane how bad the racism is for a role of it's so despicable.
Shocking.
I've never heard the word woke used so much like loosely without any meaning or understanding in my life than the last 2 weeks. Like I literally my video is not performing.
Oh, I've seen your
Odyssey review. I had 2 comments and both of them were like woke. One of them follows me. Right, and he put fuck Nolan and fuck you or something like that. Clicks on the profile, they follow me. Literally, and it's because I've just said that I've really enjoyed the film. I didn't even mention like stuff that they're fucked off about. It's people hating for the sake of hating when they don't have a clue. They don't care either. They're just doing it to be a cunt. It's just
obviously
it's one of them because you don't want to give them like a voice or a platform. But like we all feel very strongly about it and we're speaking about it because it's just fucking wrong and it's so ignorant. And
I made a full video about it. You know, I try to stay away from sometimes these situations, but sometimes you got to speak your voice, man, and you got to say what's what.
I think with my post on Twitter and that, obviously I think I had fucking like 1,000 comments and like literally I'd say about 95% of them were all negative. And it's one of them where even if you try and defend your point, which you shouldn't have to anyway, they're so ignorant in their own mind. That is why, obviously, they have the opinion they do. They don't care whatever you reply with that comment.
It does not matter what you're saying.
Like, being racist and transphobic or whatever is such a one-way sided of thinking. It is such an ignorant way. You're just depriving yourself of, I don't know, it's so fucking stupid. It's like, just like literally just grow up. Like, he's calling like woke and stuff. And like, I do think like with the times going on, like we talked about like films like Scary Movie, where I feel like the comedy aspect in certain aspects does need to come back. I think we have kind of shut off certain things, and it is like kind of a little bit like snowflakey. But with like something like this, like I think it is so ignorant and stuff, and it is like it's stupid.
It's so close-minded. It's like what you're saying there, just banging your head against the wall, arguing with these people because they have no reasoning behind their hate. So when you're trying to say to them like why, there's nothing that you can like argue with because you'd literally just shouted at it's just fuck them.
Let's get back to the film. One thing that we've not talked about much is the production design and costume design of it. Like, I loved the way Agamemnon was dressed. That's the fucking black, and that looked so cool. Now, obviously, pre-film, a lot of people were complaining about the historical accuracy of this mythological story. I think it looked way better with the outfits and stuff now than what it would have if they went down that realistic point of view.
Yeah.
The production design, the costume design was off the scale.
Yeah.
What do you think?
For me, I feel like the only issue I've seen, like the only main comparison I've seen is the Troy Trojan horse and the Odyssey Trojan horse, where obviously like the Trojan horse is supposed to be made out of wood and stuff like that, where in obviously this one it kind of looks like metallic.
It's their boat. They've reused their boats, haven't they? But they've used
like I can kind of see the complaint issue around that. But like one of the most stupid thing I've seen is the one with John Bernthal and Tom Holland, where they're having the conversation where they're shooting the ball, saying like, "Oh, if you look at is it Brendan Gleeson? Is it Brendan? No, it's not Brendan Gleeson. Whoever plays him in Troy, and then they compare him to him in Odyssey. I think you've got John Bernthal in his back garden, basically, of his palace. He's not going to be wearing a full fucking suit of armor like he is in Troy, which is all about leading up to the Battle of Troy. This is after Troy. The war's over. Obviously, he's going to be fucking sat around wearing finger. It's like when you go to work, you're not got your work clothes on when you're at home, have you? It's so fucking stupid. And like, I like, obviously, like, you look at the writers on this film, it's Christopher Nolan and Homer. You're going to have to find a middle point in this film where they kind of overlay as well, like with the costume design. It looks fine. Who cares about every historically accurate pinpoint detail of the armor? It looks fine. It's
not a documentary.
Yeah, it's not like it's so stupid.
Is there anything else we want to talk about on the film? Have you anything you two want to bring up about the film itself?
I think
we've talked a lot about it.
Yeah, there's no scenes in particular. Obviously, we've talked. The only person is obviously I keep forgetting his name, but the guy who's blind in the film. I think like obviously he's like his performance is so good. Like he's such like a staple in the film, and like the whole like emotional aspect. I think he's brilliant. Just kind of
he's funny too.
Yeah. I think like she doesn't really have that much of a role. I think obviously she plays like. She's like, obviously, Robert Pattinson's lapdog, like whispering in his ear, telling him all the gossip and stuff. I kind of like the touch, obviously, we've spoken about, where she gets shut out at the end. And like another thing we haven't talked about is, actually, there is a thing what we've not really spoken about much, is obviously Pattinson's him being a coward. Like the whole thing of him and obviously Elliot Page. I know you've seen it more recent than me, but I think Elliot Page and Robert Pattinson's characters are brothers. I don't know.
No, I've seen this online, but I don't think they are.
No, I think it's like Pattinson's family paid for this, like really poor family for the kid to take the brunt, and he wanted. I'm not too sure.
They pull sticks, don't they? And then Pattinson swaps the sticks, and then I like the whole like storyline of like Elliot Page calling him a coward, and then Robert Pattinson's like obviously in the palace going, oh, well, I wanted to go and he wanted me to stay here and take care of his son and all this. And it's just like, fuck off, you lying bastard. Like,
He
you're a
tried making out like he didn't know who he was and that.
Yeah. And then the way like this beggar chucks this little thing and like Patterson notices straight away what it is. And then he's like, I don't know what that is. I don't know who that is. And stuff like that. And at the end, when I think I'm right, where Odysseus puts it in his mouth, is that what happens? That is what happens in it. And the way he shoves it in his mouth, and he's like, "Yeah, have a bit of that. I'll see you in hell when you go see, obviously, everyone else." I think that's like one of my favorite aspects of like Pattinson being shown as a coward, and he's constantly a coward. Where he's like, he always gets I can't think of his name, inmate of Straight Outta Compton. He kind of gets to do everything. He's like, "Oh yeah, you do this," and like especially at the end where he's hiding behind the post, and he's like, "Go and grab the balls, go and grab the spears." And he's like,
go do
anything.
It's like one of those people that go fuck yourself, and then run away. And it's like not
proper keyboard warrior, innit?
Can't fucking believe Batman's pussying out like that,
mate. Yeah. Crazy. It's so good.
I am the knight.
Right. So I think we've talked about the Odyssey enough now.
No.
I think we've gone. Well, not enough. We might even do another surprise episode yet.
Yeah.
Obviously, because we have two other co-hosts of this podcast that are yet to see it. So let's go on to our top 5 Nolan movies after watching The Odyssey.
Well,
hey! Let's start with Eccy. What's your top 5 Nolan movies?
Right. So for me, it is so hard to do after The Odyssey. Obviously, I've only seen it once. And us talking about it in this makes me kind of want to put it up higher. But I think off first viewing, seeing multiple of Nolan's films multiple times, for me, I'd probably go Oppenheimer number 1. Second would probably be Interstellar, which is very hard to say. Then The Odyssey. Then The Dark Knight. And then Inception.
Can't wait to see if that changes after midnight tonight.
Yeah, I think it will.
Joe?
So mine, I'll go the other way.
Yeah,
at 5, I've also got Inception.
Oh.
At 4, I've got Dunkirk.
Oh.
At 3, I've got Interstellar. At 2, I've got Oppenheimer. And then I think I'd put the Odyssey at 1 now, you know.
No Dark Knight, no?
No, the 6th. It was my 5th. Because I've got Dunkirk, Inception, and Dark Knight all at 4.5. And they're one of them where like they kind of interswitch, and similar to what we've said before, I think the Batman still kind of changes my. I think it's because it's a Batman film and the Batman's better. It
does make it different.
Mm.
For me, 5th, I have Inception. 4th, I have Dark Knight. I do agree that the Batman is a better Batman story, but it's still a fantastic film in itself. 3, Interstellar. 2, Oppenheimer. And number 1 is The Odyssey. Talking about it now solidified it. When I first watched it, I said to Joe outside, Oppenheimer's still number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Then I got home and I was just so speechless. I can't deny it. It's just an absolute cinematic achievement. It's Christopher Nolan's greatest feat. It's something special, and it has to be number 1 for me. You can call it recency bias, which it could be. It well could be.
I think, like, for me, I was like, I kind of came out of it and I'm exactly the same as you, where I thought, it's unbelievable. Is it second? It's like either first or second. I think I've even put it in our group chat. It's either first or second with Oppenheimer. And then it's kind of like the days I thought about it, I was like, yeah, it probably is first. But because his films are so different, it's very hard. And then I think literally today when we was all on the phone, like getting ready for do this episode, and I was kind of going through my ranking again, I was kind of thinking of like the emotional aspect and the docking scene in Interstellar. And I'm like, does it overweigh Odyssey? And I feel like for me, I'm always a person who never really gives films a 5-star on first watch. I'm always a believer that you have to watch something twice. And Odyssey did get 5-star first time, and it very, very rarely happens. But I feel like after midnight tonight, it might be first, it might be second, it might stay where it is. I have a feeling it will go higher. And obviously, I'm watching it at midnight, and then I've got it booked for 7 o'clock tomorrow night as well in 70mm IMAX. So that'll be 3 times. So I feel like then I'll be totally set on where it belongs.
No, yeah, listen, I could rewatch Oppenheimer or Interstellar today, and it might switch around. They're the defo top 3.
Yeah.
Recency bias, it's the most fresh on my mind. It left me so speechless and had such a profound impact on me after watching it.
I've never found myself wanting to talk about a film so much, and I don't think we've ever gone. Like, you look at it, like we've been doing this episode now for 2 hours, 23 minutes. Obviously, it's probably getting cut out. But like, we have never, especially without any games really getting played, that game probably lasted 3 or 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, we have never, ever gone so much into detail, and I've never found myself talking about a film so much, if ever.
Yeah, I agree. Anything else to add?
No.
Well, that will conclude this week's episode of the Bunkhouse Podcast. Thank you for watching and listening to episode 8. Make sure to visit bunkhousecritics.com, QR code on screen for all our latest reviews on latest releases. You can also find us on TikTok, Instagram. All the links are in the description. If you've enjoyed this episode as much as we've enjoyed making it for you, show us some love, hit the like button, get involved in the comments. Give us that 5-star rating on Spotify, and we will see you next time in the Bunkhouse.
Bye-bye, driver.
Bye-bye.
Bye.